No, Thunderbirds are slow.
Are they?
What was that, Virgil?
You got to do the eyes. You got to do the dodgy rolling eyes as well.
Yeah.
I mean, great at the time, but you look at it now and think, yeah, okay. Even up to and including Terrorhawks.
Oh, that was awful. Sorry, but that was just awful.
Yeah, but it had the Sergeant Major was matey boy out of It Ain't Half Hot Mum, Windsor Davies.
Yeah, lovely boys.
Lovely boys. Brilliant. Oh, hello. I found one of the guys' names that I thought I hadn't got in a different little job.
So we're not going to call him Hey You anymore?
No, I can actually call him by his full name and not just Andy. Oh, face to face, just call everyone mate because you can't remember.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking before when I said Hey You. No, I just call him mate. Hey mate.
Yeah, but when it comes to the distribution list, you're supposed to have people's proper names. You can't just go, yeah, mate, Andy, Thiggy, JH. So I might have to email JH and go, excuse me, what's your name?
Well, usually you ask somebody else that you do know the name of, and then you ask, because you know that they might know that person, you ask them what their name is.
I might just email him and say, and just say, oops, sorry, what is your name? I won't have to ask him how to spell it because he'll be writing it in an email. That's the theory, anyway.
Well, you could sort of do a. Oh, could I get your spelling of your name? I wasn't sure of the correct spelling.
Yeah. I'll just hold my hand up and say, mate, didn't make a note of your name. What is it? I know your initials. It's in your email address. Oh, dear.
So what have we been missing out on this week? Oh, did anyone see the rocket have a little boom?
Yes, I did see Mr. Musk's rocket had a little hiccup.
Yeah.
That was quite spectacular. I don't know what caused it. I haven't I just saw the one of the channels was live streaming it, and
yeah,
I went and watched a couple of minutes of it. But I thought, well, yeah, I mean that's when you're designing new things, you have tests for exactly this sort of thing. Does it actually work? Boom. No.
No.
No. Why did it do that? No, Zebulon. That was Monty Python's The Meaning of Life. And he calls himself a sergeant major, and he was actually a staff sergeant. Yes. My name is Farm, but to you can call me Mr. Erzboy. What?
There we go.
There we go. Light blue touch paper. At arm's length and retire.
Oh!
That's a big bang, judging by how much the camera shook, because they tend to be a fair distance away.
Yeah, sorry, I was standing a bit too close for that.
Yeah, the camera felt that. Oh yeah, I ain't seen it from this range. Yeah, that's a big hiccup, isn't it?
Yeah. So obviously a spark of some sort, electrical.
So is it harder for them to CGI that than a normal rocket launch?
Well, I mean, that doesn't last as long as a full rocket launch, so technically it should be easier. But yeah, I mean, I haven't followed this up to see if they've sussed it out yet as to what actually caused it.
Boom. Well, at least they weren't actually launching it at the time, which is lucky.
Yeah, it was only a static test, wasn't it? But even so, that seemed to be an awful lot of fuel coming out of there before anything lit, and I suspect that's that's what caused the flash. Is the fuel was come pouring out and it hadn't lit, and then at some point it did.
You mean they flooded it?
Yeah.
Yeah, too much choke. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Pull the choke out, put the handbag on it. Yeah.
I once had a Granada that backfired, set the air filter on fire.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been an open bell mouth, would it?
The worst bit was just because it was cheap plastic, so it melted, didn't it?
Yep.
A bit. So of course you couldn't put a new filter in it.
No, because you need new housing.
Oh, do you know? I was phoning around Ford dealers to get a quote to get a price on a new one.
Yeah.
They started off at 250 quid.
I strongly suspect that you either fitted a K&N or a pipe across air filter that there was its own.
No, I was in a lucky position. I was able to phone around and speak to the managers of some service departments through a contact I had that worked in the warranty department at Ford's, and eventually managed to find one that was like 60 quid, which is the price it was supposed to be. Oh, and they had it in stock, because most of the other ones didn't have it in stock either.
Yeah, so that's always the next thing, isn't it? Have you actually got it in stock?
No, but they have uploaded a video. Booster 7 inspected after explosion. So they may.
Yeah, let me just check my Twitter feed and see if they put.
See if there's anything in
If they
there.
put anything on there.
Jeez, they're moving fast, these guys.
They've had their Weetabix.
Yeah.
Oh, that's strange. Oh, they don't seem to have mentioned it on their Twitter feed.
I think they're just showing. Few char marks. Is that the launch platform as well, or is that somewhere where they're just testing it?
No, I think that is actually the platform, isn't it? It sits on the platform, and then that tower's got the two arms that's supposed to catch it when it comes back down again. That'd be alright. Give it a jet wash. Nobody will know.
Yeah. No, there's no commentary by this. They're just inspecting it. Yeah, that's what they're doing. Oh, we'll have to wait till we get a commentary about it. Someone left the bicycle chain in the rocket, it didn't go.
Left the handbrake on, that's what it was.
Oh, well.
No, I had to look on their Twitter feed, but they haven't mentioned anything.
We'll hear about it eventually.
Yeah. Somebody will figure out what the hell it was.
It was probably one of the workers sitting around down near the bottom having a smoke break, and when he lit his cigarette, kaboom.
Right, that's it. I'm done. Blimey.
What was that bang?
All right, line everybody up. Who was it? It wasn't me. What about you? You haven't got any eyebrows.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I slipped with a razor, that's all.
Yeah.
He's got no eyebrows, no eyelashes, no hair at all, you know. Desperate signs of scrubbing to get all the soot off. It wasn't me.
One of the photography forums that I used to go on, one of the guys that posted on there was a photographer. Let's just say he had pad access for his cameras.
Oh, yeah.
At Kennedy. Yeah. He did lose he did occasionally lose the odd one, or at least go back and find it not sitting on the tripod anymore.
Yeah.
After after it all got blown away. But by God, did he get some good photos?
I bet, yeah.
As you can imagine. I mean, cameras within 100 meters of the pad.
Oh,
Yeah. Love that sort of access for a launch.
I just like some of the cameras they use on those mounts for tracking them. Yeah. I'd use that for watching the ISS going over.
Astronomy Live software that he uses for tracking the rockets will do the ISS for you as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. I ain't got any of that gear. I can't bloody afford it either.
The camera he uses isn't it's not super new or anything.
No.
But the telescope is a bloody good telescope because it's it's a couple of foot in diameter, which really helps. Oh, and it has several meters of actual optical focal length.
Yeah.
I want to show this as well, so I'm just trying to pick the right one. Because I put it, my thumbnail, I put two images of the same nebula taken with its infrared, medium infrared and low infrared, one of those two. I forgot what I read now. But there's also the other image that they took. I've seen that. Where that is. Have they got anyone that's like NASA or something?
Let's have a look.
Because I have watched somebody reviewing the images, but not someone we can play. That's News Australia. That's no good to us. We get copyrighted for that. That's 3 minutes anyway.
I'm sure if we did the proper stuff for fair use, commenting, us stopping and commenting it as well, I'm sure we could probably use Dr. Becky.
Well, I reckon we could use the 7 News one, but as long as we don't play it, we'll just go through to the images as well. The same thing. They're all only a couple of minutes anyway. Try that one. ABC maybe? I've played ABCs before and didn't have any trouble with them.
It's time to take a look at what's been going on in all things science.
Well, okay.
He's a bit keen, isn't he?
I'll just go straight to the images.
But actually it's only been taken by the fine guidance sensor. So this isn't actually an image that is a perfect science image yet. It's just an indicator of the type of amazing science that JWST can actually do.
Hold on, so this is just a sensor that's not actually going to end up taking the best.
Brainery, check out that one. Oh no, I can't look at that now while I'm playing this one. There's a certain image that they took that I wanted to, hopefully they show it on here. Don't look like they are.
Ah.
That one? No, there's definitely another image that I've seen.
Terry,
Mm.
with that link that Brainary sent has got some. Oh, there's some very good bits in there. If you would like me to share it, there's some swipe
No, I've got it.
overs.
No, I've got it. I've got it.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah.
Because that being able to swipe it backwards and forwards and show the difference between Hubble and James Webb.
Yeah, that's the one. Probably the one similar to I was watching. There was a bloke doing the difference, showing the differences between the two. Yeah, that's the one I looked at. I don't know how good quality the image is, but we might be able to. No, it's not a high resolution image, so I can't zoom in on that one.
Yeah, it's good because you can drag backwards and forwards across it and swap it to compare Hubble and
Like the first one?
yeah, all of them. If you
No, the first one doesn't.
It was weird because I got it when I scrolled right down to the. Once I scrolled down to the bottom and dragged that one backwards and forwards, I then scrolled up and could drag all of the other ones backwards and forwards.
Oh, okay. Unless it's doing all of them in one shot.
Okay, yeah, it's right over. It'll be right over on the left-hand side. Remember the. I think that's because the Hubble picture is smaller than the Webb picture.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the thing for it. I've got it at the 100. But you can see the galaxies how they're distorted from gravitational lensing, I think it's called.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one shows it up very well, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's what amazed me when they were showing it.
I think it was in Blue Server. Science Out posted his attempt at simulating gravitational lensing from a black hole and putting it over a star field image. It was similar but not quite. To which his comment was, "I guess it's not a black hole then."
Well, there must be something in that area. I can't zoom in on this image to show it. I have seen another one of it where you can zoom in better. But not that one. Yeah. No, I had a look, but I couldn't find one. I don't know which one they used on some of these videos, the image. Oh.
Yeah,
Unless there's just images in Google.
Yeah, Terry, let me.
What have you found?
I'm trying to share my Chrome window. Oh, hang on.
I found his name.
Share. That's the wrong one, isn't it? Back to another screen to share. Share that one. Stop sharing. I don't want to share. New share. Chrome.
Well, tonight we're seeing the universe in a whole new light, thanks.
I can't. It doesn't seem to want to let me share the correct flipping Chrome window. That's annoying. Right, let's try one more time, shall we?
Yeah, why not? Ice down for fellas.
Well, while you're doing that, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
Oh, Jesus.
I didn't mean to do that. I just said I didn't mean to do that.
Oh, this is ridiculous. Right,
Ridiculous.
ridiculous. Oh, there you go.
That's better. That's
bit,
not a,
can
that's
you
not
make,
a flight tracker.
can you make it bigger?
Right, of course I can make it bigger. I can make it go full screen. There you go. Full screen didn't help. I'll tell you what. I'll make it go bigger by dragging it over here. Shall I? Oh, it'll only let me show it on this screen. Sorry. Does that help? Oh, I see. Let's get rid of that. That make it go bigger, won't it? Because I'm now not sharing the chat. Yay!
Yeah, that helps.
There we go. Right. So at the moment, I've got them all set to show the Hubble image. So this is Galaxy Cluster SMACS 0723. And let's do the reveal. Oh, I don't. Guess what? It won't let me do.
It won't let you slide it across.
It won't let me slide it across while I'm sharing.
Oh, what a tease.
Oh, that's just right.
What a way to ruin the anticipation.
Right. This'll effing well fix it.
I've heard that before. Come on, then. You can do it.
What? I shared the entire screen to get round that problem.
Anyway, take his word for it. It's really clever when you can slide it across.
Yes.
It's really cool.
I don't know what's going on.
But while it's being shared, no, I can't access the mouse control on the screen while it's screen sharing to Zoom.
Ooh.
Don't know why. I am sorry, Peanuts. You ain't getting it.
Now I've just lost the link for it. I just tried to open the link up again and it didn't work.
I've got to find the.
Oh, the link's broken now. Unable to open. Error.
We're doing well here, aren't we?
Yeah, I just wanted that one image, but I don't know where they were getting it from. Oh. We sort of seen it on the video. That showed it enough. No, the link's broken on my end for Stevie B. It's not opening.
Hang on, let me have a look. Will it work for me? No, it is, to call it a technical term, buggered.
Yeah, we broke it.
Oh no.
Houston, we've got a problem.
I think the problem is it, like you say, it's broken because I can't move it at all now.
We can't.
So-
Well, I've just tried it. I can't even. It
Can't even open.
Won't work.
Yeah, we broke it. Well, meanwhile, back at the ranch, we need a
Tonto
E.
just.
Yeah, what did he do?
Well, meanwhile, back at the ranch, Tunnel
Yeah.
disguised as a door got his knob shot off.
No. So we've got an E something N scientist, and I've got to go back up for the clue.
Easy good. Easy good.
Where's the
I
clue?
haven't posted the clue yet.
Oh,
I was going to say, yeah.
I'm going to post the clue.
I was scrolling back up looking. I thought there was a clue.
Well, people are making guesses.
Hey, farmer. I haven't got a clue.
I'm sorry, I haven't a clue.
You have now.
The greatest female mathematician who has ever lived. She changed our understanding of the universe with her namesake theorem.
Her namesake theorem. Her namesake theorem.
Wouldn't be Emma, would it?
Not Emma.
Four-letter female name beginning with
Close, but no cigar.
Ellen?
No.
Mum fit.
Yeah, Ellen. E-L-E-N.
No, Ellen generally has two L's.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Well, this might be one L.
Her surname might indicate a lack of ether.
Neither.
Ether.
Ah. Has anyone actually tried to guess without the clue yet?
No, I don't think so.
We had Emmy no ether. We had Elon non-Musk.
Ah.
Well,
Okay.
someone did get it right then.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Emmy no ether is correct.
Oh, M-E.
Oh.
Emmy.
Emmy.
Yeah.
E-double-M-E.
Not
M-E.
Emma.
What sort of name's
E-double-M-Y.
that?
E-double-M-Y. Emmy.
Ah.
Oh, as in the award.
Yeah, that's right.
Never heard of her. Can't be that
There you
good.
go.
I've never heard of her. Oh dear. I'm just sitting there thinking, why is my stomach rumbling? It's 1:30 in the afternoon. I haven't eaten since breakfast.
Got any shortbreads?
Oh God, yeah. Loads of them. There's boxes and boxes of them in the cupboard, and I just have this big jar down in the kitchen that I just dump a couple of boxes in at a time. Yeah, I might. Yeah, might do something other than that, but.
Well, it might be cup of tea time soon.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, if anybody happens to be in the area,
bit dry.
Yeah, getting that way.
Yeah, look, I've even got mine here.
Even number. That was the answer.
And yeah, it works. Yeah, even number. Very strange name though. Particularly for a young lady to call them even. Imagine going through life being called even.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be odd. Well, it wouldn't be
Yeah.
odd.
What are the odds? What are the odds?
No, it wouldn't be odd. It'd be even. I was just checking to see if we had any. debates over the last week that's worth playing as well?
I think it's been a bit short on that front this week, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm sure. There's not really been.
I think
MC Toon.
Glover Mum did a remix of one debate of somebody there. Forget who that was.
She's been doing remixes of MC Toon, and she's been doing Fight the Flat Earth as well. Because he's put out a couple recently where it's like, fucking me, these old ones. You know, because you can, you haven't watched before, you can tell because he hasn't got all the fancy backgrounds and he's not in his lounge and all the rest of it. I mean, that was sort of way back when.
Yeah.
I fell asleep sitting at my desk trying to listen to MC2 Ring CC last night. Apparently, it was quite funny.
It was. I can't remember. I don't think it's too far in because I was watching it this morning, just kept hitting fast forward and thinking, come on in, let's have something interesting. Yeah, he spoke to him for, I don't know, 5 minutes or so, maybe.
Yeah. And then he had an idiot on, didn't he? An idiot that's banned. An idiot that's so vile he got himself banned from Toon's Discord.
Oh, I think I'd given up at that point because
was that that idiot that wouldn't shut up?
Well, that covers a multitude of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Texas Troy.
Texas Troy. I can't remember that one.
He's a Malloryite.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, that character just doesn't amuse me at all. Mallory, it's just.
Yeah, he's one of Mallory's.
Oh, Fight the Flat Earth's one with what's his name? Is that Whitsett or who was that with? Who's the one that did the wrestling person and lost?
That was Right the Hand, wasn't
Right the Hand, that's it.
Right the wanker.
Yes. Left the foot.
No embarrassment. Yeah, I can beat you. You're only a woman. Yeah, right.
Oh, women aren't strong enough for that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And the look on her face was priceless when she had him pinned for 1 minute. She just rolled her eyes as if to say, really? Really?
Have we got room for another slice of humble pie there? Just one more. Yeah, go on making statements like that. Bloody hell.
Well, I'll get ready to put the jug on.
Okay then.
Oh, dear.
Well, I've got to go and cook a 3-course meal. I'm hungry.
Yes, I'm going to raid the fridge.
Where are we up to?
Oh, God.
We've done that one.
Yeah.
Oh, we've still got 9. So
Jesus.
we're up to part 1. It's all about the celestial gap.
Is it?
Above the
gap thing
tropic.
on the brain.
Yeah, we know what the gap is. We definitely know where that is. How many minutes have we got for this one? That a usual... No, 22
and a half.
minutes. Oh, okay. Oh, well.
Maybe there's a little bit of extra detail in somewhere on his screen or something that's just taking the edge off of how long his memory card will run for.
Yeah. Could be.
Well, I don't have that problem now with my if I do need to film with my DSLR. Now I've gone from an 8 gig card to a 128 gig card.
Bloody hell. Yeah.
I had that sitting there for somebody that I went and bought the wrong card one time. I think it's a 128.
Yeah, well, I said to Nathan I could do the 64 gig card, and he went, well, you can't have a 64 gig card. And I looked at him and he went, the 128 is cheaper.
Oh, all right then.
It was on offer, wasn't it?
Mine's laying around here somewhere. I forget where I put it.
The 64 as well. It was
I
actually molded by the two.
and then when I read the instruction book for the little digital camera, the really old digital camera I got, it won't take that high. So it was no good to me.
Now, well, there's 3 different SD card standards, isn't there?
32, 64, and 128.
No. It's SD, which I think
yeah. SSD as well.
But it's SD, SDHC, and SDXC.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And they're all different bloody. They all have different maximum capacity, and the bigger capacity ones are not backwards compatible. Because if you go to if you use compact flash, the bigger cards that don't work in, they'll still work in the device. They just won't go to the full. They just won't go to the full capacity.
Just had to plug my phone into the PC because I couldn't remember what size my card was. Apparently it's 128 gig.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I couldn't remember what size it was when I bought it.
Unless I just buy a new digital camera that I can use my SD card for. That'll cost a bit more.
Yeah. That's a bit arse about face, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. For the amount of times I do photography, I just use my phone.
Exactly.
What people do.
Well, the photography I've done and a little bit of video I've done, I suppose I could put up with that. All right then.
Yeah, go on then.
Oh, what was that? I heard air.
Not me.
Wasn't me.
No, he caught me out. You know why I had the TV going on in the background?
Oh.
When Lindsay comes on, the microphone goes on mute and the TV goes on unmute.
Oh, okay.
No.
I thought it was bad enough Farmers was going to get a coffee.
I'll watch the start and then
You'll
Yeah.
just but the peanuts don't know who disappears or not.
no, they can't see us, can they?
No, they can't. But they can hear you unless I turn you off.
Yeah, I know.
All right then.
Go on then, let's have some.
What's
That's
the word?
enough.
What's the word?
Please don't. Oh, go on then, press.
Please don't.
Please don't. Please don't.
Welcome back. Welcome to Flat Earth Philosophy. Welcome to those who haven't seen any of my videos before.
Now we can sneak off and get a cup of
last three
farm.
videos
No
I've
one will
just
know.
put out.
Don't tell
Into
anyone.
the Flat Earth system.
Okay, I won't tell
I didn't
anyone.
exactly do a very good job of it, but I've got more to add to it. So I just want to point out that what's going on here in the tropics is the cold fusion system. Understanding it.
Fusion system.
What?
Magnetic field.
Did he say what's going on in the tropics?
Yeah.
I don't understand. If he said Antarctica and said cold fusion, yeah, that'd be something that could go together, but not the tropics.
The tropics cold fusion system.
And then he'll
That's
bring
a
up
new
something in the Antarctica about something to do with heat.
It's coming down, right? Magnetic field of Earth. Then you've got this electrical system going up the middle. And if you look into cold fusion, it's explained quite well. So I'll just read a little bit of this. Skip that bit. Because cold fusion is still an unresolved and controversial subject that generates strong opinions and passionate debate among scientists, I'll begin by stating up front that I am a mainstream plasma physicist researching fusion energy. I also read many of the papers published in cold fusion. However, I attended the last 3 international conferences on cold fusion, and I myself I myself ran 2 sets of cold fusion experiments, both with clear evidence of express power release. Overall, I consider myself to be a fairly neutral observer. To understand the controversy, it helps to know some basic facts about fusion. Fusion is a nuclear reaction within 2 smaller nuclei joined fused. So we get hydrogen atoms fused to create the helium. This helium at the top, remember the sun? It's all about water, hydrogen. So, go on, you just need to think a little bit. When the large nucleus is unstable, it quickly breaks apart and releases energy. This is what's happening through here, and it gets fed over down and creates the sun here. The difficulty is that because the initial nuclei are all positively charged, it's positively charged up here, coming through the guts here, they are strongly repelled as they approach one another. And this is what creates the helix system coming up here. It's about stripping electrons off the sides here, off the female, the magnet for the female, this class of the female, and the male up the middle here. Check out my last video.
How far is he going to stretch this rubber band on this one?
The big difficulty is because the initial nuclei are positively charged, they are strongly repelled as they approach one another. Therefore, only nuclei having a high kinetic energy approach closely enough to fuse. High-speed nuclei can be made on Earth either by particle accelerators or by extremely high temperatures. It does get very high up here. This is what science tells you. It's the Van Allen belts or whatever up there. We can't get that high. Nowhere near it. But then, you talk cold fusion, so I don't know. Extreme temperatures on the order of 50 million degrees Celsius or more in controlled magnetic fusion energy. It's all about magnetic fusion. Experiments such as the tokamak and others are magnetically confined plasma. Magnetically confined, see? The central vortex is magnetically confined. We're out here in the realm here. This is what they say. Now, we can't get there, can't see it. We're sort of like the dielectric. This is beyond the event horizon type thing. It's a strong magnetic field up there. And like I said in the past, the tokamak, they'll never get that working properly because they're only working on a single system. They're not thinking of the central thing here. They've got this thing maybe going on here, a dual system. They don't realise it should be back here as a central system with this happening all around it, being fed back into the centre. But they're just concentrating more on minerals and gas, adding this and adding that. Anyway, confined plasma, waves or neutral. Magnetically confined plasma is heated by electromagnetic waves or neutral particle beams in inertial fusion energy experiments. Tiny pellets are compressed and heated by powerful pulsed laser or ion beams. It's about the iron.
You want me to rewind it, Farmer?
Cold fusion claims to release measurable energy from fusion reaction.
No.
Room temperature. When deuterium is dissolved into a solid, usually palladium.
Don't you want to know about cold fusion?
nickel.
Is what is it? Forms of tropics or
the
something?
1920s is that hydrogen and its isotopes can dissolve in such high concentrations in certain solids that the hydrogen nuclei approach closer to one another than even in solid hydrogen. And there's the helix going on here. Furthermore, negative electrical charges from the electrons of the solid host. There's a solid host here. See, the negative electrons either side, the solid host. It's what's shooting up through the middle here, red through the middle. Furthermore, negative electron charges from the electrons of the solid host partly cancel the repulsion between the nuclei. Cancel the repulsion.
I'll read Gary's post.
Could be bringing this helix closer together maybe. It's coming out here. Real experiments did not detect any signs of fusion.
I don't.
However, furthermore, modern theoretical calculations show that the proposed effects, while real, are
Do you reckon we could?
much too small.
Reckon we could do it, or would we get a headache?
Of fusion. So I just thought I'd mention that. But at the end of the day, it's about water.
Yeah, you'll get a headache.
It's associated with hydrogen energy, isn't it? Because everything's about water, raising water. So you've got to look at this system where everything's being raised up, purifying the water as it gets higher and higher up to the atmosphere to be drawn back to the sun and then dissolved back to purified water and the move for Gaia. So you've got to look at this, but at the same time you think of looking at this. This is what you guys are trying to figure out free energy and that sort of thing, you know? Because the Earth is showing it. Nigel Cheese knows what's going on here.
Nigel Cheese.
Smell my cheese.
So yeah, some things to point out here.
Radioactive
Radioactive decay.
knows
See, this is the radioactive decay in here. It's the same thing. Look into that. And in the Iliad, they talk about the bows and the arrows, right? Lots of bows and arrows. And this is what they're talking about here, because they're talking about this here. There's your bow, a bow and arrow, right? There's a bow and arrow
What?
like this, isn't it? There's your hand grip. That's the bow.
That's a bow. That's a bit of a stretch, isn't it?
And he's got his arrow in here, hasn't he? See, they talk about this. They know all this. All the ancients knew how the earth worked. And this is the thing about science, when they tell you that your spinning ball is wider at the equator.
He isn't making a point with
Because
the arrow.
It spins around here more, doesn't it? As it approaches the Capricorn tropic, spins around more as it approaches the Cancer tropic, and then shoots across like this. This is the way the magnetic fields work.
Yeah?
Glorified image here, of course. And this is why they say it's wider at your, because you've got all this extra travelling just here, and all of a sudden you shoot across like that. They're telling you that you live on a pier type of thing, or it's just, no, they say it's wider at the tropics. That's why, see? It all makes sense. Flat Earth, you can't debunk it. Extra length of the equator. So it's a bulge, isn't it? It's not round. They're trying to tell you it's a bulge out.
Can't quite work out what he draws sometimes.
Bulges out. Bulges out. Nuclear desalination. Well, there you go, water again, using nuclear
Nuclear
energy.
desalination? What?
Purifying the water.
Oh no.
The like I say, there's
Okay, make a correlation
What did I say?
between them two for me,
Radioactive
Lindy. I've got
decay
no
type
idea what
thing.
you're talking about.
you can look into that. It's purifying the water, isn't it? The wave, the solar
Nuclear
boat wave.
desalination.
Desalination,
I
yeah.
mentioned this before. The Egyptians knew all about it. That's why they mentioned the solar boat.
They want on
Because
me.
the sun is sitting there doing this. Up in here.
Come on,
It's all
Peanuts,
water
you've got to
again.
beat that
Because the sun
beat
sits on the
that,
horizon of the black hole.
title for
It
that.
just does this motion. That's what creates the seasonal changes. It just does one of these over the year, but it's doing this every day, isn't it? Going around it. That's the solar boat. That's the declination. That's perihelion, aphelion. This is wave doing the wave. This is what it's doing. It's all the ancients knew how everything worked.
That's how everything
But,
works. It's easy. Can't
But
debunk
the
it.
irony is, the ancients did know
You see
how
this
things
on your
work.
laptop.
Yeah.
It's just
The
that
Herbert
image.
who ain't got a clue.
And look,
Yeah.
it's the human body too, isn't it? And it's the north hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. The human body's the same thing. All the energy's in the head. The body's a weaker force. But look, the body draws up from the earth. This is why people say earthing's good for you. You got earthing, you got the earth, we're from the earth, man is from the earth. And look, celestial is for the head. This is bite by head, wound by heel.
Yeah, I don't know,
The two
Brainy.
heads I
I
was talking about
can't work
before,
out what,
Mary Hart,
like motion
raising the
tracker or
Kundalini.
something.
It just shows how man is connected with the earth. So understanding the flat earth model gives you all the answers. You can't live on a spinning ball unless you want to be a frickin' dodo all your life. It's the magic.
What about
It's-
Pete Shea?
Yeah, it's just so simple, you know.
Aristarchus
They
is
just-
revealed.
They just follow. They're zombies. Most people are zombies. While I'm here, I'll read your post.
Did you post something,
I'll
Palmer?
put it on Facebook.
Oh.
Local Facebook.
Imagine if he read out one of ours,
Hating me for this,
but he will never.
but it's the truth.
I expect you just delete them.
Yeah.
It's about here in New Zealand we have Matariki. The Maoris celebrate Matariki. And we've now been given an official holiday for Matariki. Matariki is the Pleiades, right? So the Maoris down here see Matariki arrive at this time of the year, at the solstice. I'll break it down for you. This is my post. Matariki, yet another fine example of living a life amongst the zombies. These zombies follow blindly, believing that cultures celebrate their new year in the middle of freaking winter. This is the Merry New Year, Matariki. What a load of crap. It's not, never was. All one has to do is break the word down in etymology to find the true meaning and exactly what it implies, which has been known amongst all cultures of the earth since time began. Matariki, Pleiades, equals place of hiatus. Pleiades, place of hiatus. To take time out to honour, worship, give remembrance, etc. And we break the word Matariki down. Your mat, gift of God. Ari, lion of God. Together, a prefix of what comes next, as an amplifier. And in brackets I've got the Great Pyramid as an amplifier, and the Sphinx is the lion. Best, and also means best or brave one. Riki, power, strength, a powerful ruler. Ki, Ki, to do with location and possession, in brackets at a time. This is in the Bible, a time and half a time. It's all to remember a certain time, and it's all through religion. Summary, the preeminent arrival of a king or saint, etc., an enlightened one, the Son of God, the one who has received his Son, Son of Man. A special male child will or was born at this time. A child will be born with a gift, godly gift. Matariki appears at the June solstice. It is a time in which the New Zealand Maori look to the heavens to see the arrival of a certain constellation in the northern sky, Pleiades. A precursor to the arrival of the three wise men, Orion's belt. The solstices are cardinal directions. Catholic churches have cardinals. Question mark. Because Matariki is the same
forgot
story
about
as the
his
birth of
point,
Jesus.
something about zombies.
It's all about a man's spiritual
Exactly.
awakening, his dual self-unification into one, male and female, or man and spirit, same thing, which was lost at birth as he entered the physical world of duality, separation. The male and female is now separated in our world. Back in heaven, they're one. You belong for nothing. This is the divine meaning to life. The July solstice is part of Earth's dual system, the other one in this case being the December solstice. They are basically the same in all ancient cultures and religious stories. They just involve different hemispheres for their local seasons.
What? What are you mumbling?
Cardinal direction.
He said, I'm sure he said July solstice. It's not in July, it's in June.
Yeah, he probably just said that deliberately so we'd know we were listening.
Ah, right.
And the
Okay.
coming of spring, new year, the new year, first week of spring. So this child that will be born is the child prodigy. Born at the solstice, the cardinal. He was conceived at the equinox 9 months prior, another cardinal. But later in life, he will be reborn, but this time in spirit. His spiritual birth is his awakening into the realm no common man's brain is awake to. This is what makes him a god, or a saint, or a king, or a pharaoh, or a prophet, or a chief. Pick your religion or your culture. In regards to the spiritual birth, he will be conceived during a full
He's reading all this, but he's not
Solar-
making any
solar eclipse,
connection to his point. that he's
17
making.
days before an equinox. This is
Yeah.
when the sun and moon get it on to conceive the Son of God in the
Get
Trinity.
it on.
Mercury is the third entity that causes the darkness, receiving the spirit within a man, in brackets. This is the celestial foretelling of the coming of a king, a spiritually enlightened man, godlike, a man of wisdom and nous. This solar eclipse will happen on the diagonals in the zodiac sign, smack dab between Leo and Virgo. This is where the sun will end up, not the 90-degree cardinal directions. These diagonals represent the saints. They come out at the end of times, or they come at the end of times. End of the cycle, not the end of the world. People think. The story goes, he dies, not physically, in brackets, at the cross, the crossing of the sun and its analemma. This is the noose and the hanging. The two thieves on either side in the Christ story are aphelion and perihelion of the seasonal changes, either side of the sun's crossing, northern hemisphere to southern hemisphere or vice versa. This day will be on the sixth day of creation. This is deep, and one needs to think, in brackets. When the sun crosses at its analemma on the 6th, it is either September or March, the beginning of spring, when cultures actually celebrate New Year, and the moon happens to be full term, pregnancy, she's the spiritual mother. This is the time the prodigal son is reborn in spirit, the spiritual birth of enlightenment, opening a dormant part of the human brain that was shut at his physical birth. Hence why man is born into darkness, common man. Matariki was his physical birth. Now a son of God is born, a man of wisdom, an actual king is now born. This is all described in ancient Egyptian mythology, brought forward into the Christian story, naming the son Jesus. The Christ is the anointing oil that flows through the enlightened one's system as the elixir during the full moon, which just so happens to be in Pisces. Fishes. The so-called royal family we have ruling over us now are nothing but fraudsters and impostors. Not one of them is an enlightened being. So all the ancient cultures, new paragraph. So all the ancient cultures, new year began in the first week of spring, March or September, period. So if you go with the Christianity story, then it is the southern December equinox we celebrate. Jesus being born in December when the moon is in Pisces. It's all about being in Pisces, the moon. But like I say, both solstices are about the same event, just different hemispheres. Whew, that was a big God, I've written a book. I've got enough information, I could write a book, I could write a dozen books. Okay, we'll check out my other videos. Pairing or married, see in the Iliad, this is the sons in here, positive, and the daughters, the female. Magnetic electrons are the female, protons the male. And in physics it's the pairing or the pairing they talk about, pairing of electrons or something or other. Or married, they marry. This is where you get energy. This is the secret, this is what feeds the sun. It's all about water, hydrogen, helium. Understand the connection between man and earth. The sun's in a lemma, look, man again. 2 loops the moon does into the sun at new moon to create the energy. You can check out Nigel Cheese's videos, very informative. That's all I have to say today, I think. Understanding the seasonal change of the sun. Earth is fixed and stationary, it's the neutron, it's the neutral. Negative below it, moving water's above. This is what all the ships are in the Iliad, the ships. It's all up here where he's talking about the ships. There's water's above and the water's below. Earth, neutral in between. Thanks guys. Share, like if you can. If you feel inclined.
Like if you can.
What if you can't? Oh yeah, that's right, dislike. Or just not go to your channel.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a footnote on the word cardinal. Yes, the cardinal directions have absolutely nothing to do with the church.
No.
But the derivative, the root of the word is the same. Yes, cardinal in the church, that basically means, one of the high ups, one of the pivotal figures. And that's also what cardinal means when it comes to the cardinal directions. But cardinal directions also mean, it's not a fraction of, it's a whole figure. It's north, it's east, it's south, it's west. That's what the cardinal directions are. And then, of course, the ones in between are, what the hell are they called? Ordinal. So northeast is an ordinal direction. North is a cardinal direction. But it has the same roots in Latin as most of our words do.
Yeah.
So the little direction is ordained into the church as well. Then.
Yeah, there is a crossover, but we don't call them that because of the church.
No, because it's all Latin.
Correct.
The Latin predates the church, of course.
Yes.
We have the cardinal numbers too.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. 1, 2, and 3 are cardinal numbers. First, second, third are ordinal numbers.
That's correct.
I tend to go to the online etymology dictionary quite a lot. And invariably, it comes from the Latin for, and you think, yep, just about everything we bloody use these days, it's got its roots in Latin. Oh dear.
Is this what Gary was blabbering on about a minute ago?
Yeah, he did put out 3 videos yesterday.
4 minute, 3 minute, and a 3 minute. Field
Well,
of
at least
view
a reasonable
completely
length,
changes how we see things. Our field of view elevation affects how we see things. Narrow visual angles to surfaces causes foreshortening. Jeez.
Basically, it sounds like a brief summation of all of the bullshit that he uses to try and explain horizons and things disappearing beyond the horizon, and because obviously it's not because the Earth is round.
Okay, we'll do him a small favour. We'll just pick one. We'll get the peanuts to help. I know they'll say neither, none. Put Lindsay back on or something. Looks like he's on a table there with little toy cars or something. Then he's got railway tracks. You have to watch out for the train coming on that one. I think he's got. I can't work out what they are on the top of the table.
If it wasn't for the poor train driver, I'd say, Dad, don't bother watching out for the train. He'll be fine.
Yeah. So which one do you reckon? The crayon one. No, the crayon. That's that one. The crayon one. Brainer's going for the crayon one. That's crayons or something.
Yeah, I don't know what they are.
But which one do you think he's going to get it wrong the most out of? The toy car one or the crayon one? We'll try the crayon one. I reckon the crayon one maybe.
Yeah, go for
it. Those two look interesting, but which one I don't know.
We better give him a little bit. We seem to have 2 votes for that one at the minute.
Okay. Biggest dog is going foreshortening in the vertical. Interesting.
Oh no, not Gary.
Flash Nerd's going, oh no, not Gary.
Sorry, Gary Windbag.
There we go.
Okay.
Well, this is going to be. Yeah.
This is probably going to make me very cross.
Do you want me to mute everyone so they can't hear
you? I'm sure Gary's about to abuse the word Zoom an awful lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time you hear Gary say Zoom, please replace it with the word magnification.
Magnification, yeah. Play both in slow-mo, Brain goes. Here we go.
We're going to show the effects of what foreshortening does in your field of view.
He's very quiet.
The lower your angle, or the more acute your angle to a surface, the less detail you see. How many sticks of chalk do I have up there? This is grease chalk. You can't tell from this, even though I have a slight angle over the top. They're all equal. They're all the same size. Now, you might get a clue if you look at the tips of the shadows down there. Zoom in on it. You could probably count them then. But anyhow, when I get like barely over the top, those chalks take a very small portion of my field of view. Now, as I come up,
oh look, he's getting much further away.
They take up. I'll straighten up my camera again. I got to go back farther to get them all in. They take up a much longer length in my field of view, much more room in my field of view.
Gary really should put it on a tripod.
And they're lined up straight.
So it just goes up and down.
What point is he trying to make?
I don't know yet.
My angle,
still trying to figure it out.
The tops of them becomes more acute. And look at that line. It's just getting shorter and shorter in my field of view. And look, it's like you really can't tell how many there are at all. It looks like hardly any.
I like the perspective of the table.
Oh,
no, it works.
It's because one is obstructing the other.
Oh, if I stand with my nose against the wall, I can't see what's on the other side. Oh no!
More room.
Wow. When we get low, the first piece of chalk obstructs the others, and we can't see them.
Wow, who'd have thunk it?
The angle
yeah, who'd have thought of that?
Then becomes more acute.
He had to use chalks because he's eating all the crayons.
We don't know how many there are
detail.
because the first one's hiding all the rest.
Barely
wow,
tell there's
it's
a second one
obstruction.
there. You really can't even see the ones past that. Of course, it works the same
Because
on
the
any
first
side.
one's obstructing
Same
them,
result.
Gary.
This is foreshortened angles or effects from acute angles to surfaces. That's essentially a surface. Somebody will probably say, oh, it's not a surface. You know, it's a surface to each side of the chalk. Oh, by the way, the table does the same thing, right?
Called
Look at that
perspective.
table.
Yeah, I know. That's what
By
I
the
said
way,
about the
this is a
table.
picnic table. Came from my wife's parents' house after they died. We just stuck it in the backyard. It's kind of nice, even though it's very, very old.
Look how the boards appear to shrink
watch
in
what
width the
happens
further away
as
they
I
go. Oh, that's perspective.
lower my camera. An angle to the surface becomes more acute.
Still perspective.
And the surface of the table is foreshortening.
He's stuck on this foreshortening word, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, you notice he hasn't once
Really,
since
you just
said
barely
perspective.
see the front edge.
But that
See a
isn't
little
really
bit.
foreshortening anyway. That's just
You can still see the bottoms of the chalks. I'm gonna get right at the edge. Oh, that would be like a horizon. Oh, lift it up a little bit. See just a little bit of the surface.
It'd be a
It
horizon
looks like
when
it's
the
very
front
small.
edge obstructs the rest, right?
So is he saying that the edge of the table's like the horizon, so if you sail a ship out, you fall off the edge of the earth? Okay.
You can't tell the distance to it or anything. But of course, as I widen the angle, I have less foreshortening of the table. Little things Globies don't pay attention to. And by the way, just by
Pay
raising
attention
and
to
lowering
what?
my camera, you change your entire field of view. It's completely different. Your limitations will always be at center frame.
What's that mean?
No. I reckon he should do a collab with Demok.
Yeah.
It's true.
I'm sure if they put both their heads together, they should come up with.
I've said this for the longest time. When something you see is caused by perspective, they'll come up with a million other excuses and possible reasons for it.
For why it's not perspective.
For why it's not perspective. And when it isn't perspective, they'll go, well, it's just perspective. Why do ships disappear over the horizon? Well, it's perspective, isn't it?
At least he didn't abuse the word zoom that time.
That's true.
Oh, is he showing us how he can't scale because he's got two different models that are at different scales? Is that what this point of this one is, Gary?
Probably not.
Oh. Okay. Well, it could. If you put the small car...
Yeah, it could.
Yeah, you could bring the small car up closer and put the big car back further and you could make them look the same size.
Okay, got two little model pickups here. You can see that the black pickup is quite a bit bigger than the white pickup. Now I'm going to start with the white pickup close by me, and the black pickup I'm going to move down the table a ways. And we're going to
don't tell me he's going to do what I thought. Who would have thunk it?
Under the white pickup.
Right.
So, even though that black pickup is quite a bit bigger, it looks much smaller.
That white pickup's
than
definitely
white
bigger
pickup
than
that's
the
much
black
closer
one
to
now.
me. That is a parallax effect. The closer thing hasn't changed as much
Parallax?
as the further thing.
It's not parallax.
Yeah, I didn't think it was parallax.
This is also a demonstration of how field of view restricts what you see. This would be like one of those videos where you have a ship that's much further.
And field of view.
The white ute in front is restricting what you're seeing, Gary. It's obstructing the other one. That's what's restricting what you're seeing, Gary.
Yeah, he also threw field of view in. Although, how's the field of view got to do with this?
Gary doesn't
understand. Changing.
Gary has never understood what parallax actually is.
No.
Doesn't know the difference between parallax and perspective.
No.
And the field of view in this camera shot is not changing at all.
No.
I think it's on his phone. I don't think the field of view will ever change.
No.
Can we give him at least a point for putting it in the right mode? It's not.
We'll give him one.
It's not in portrait mode.
Oh, yeah, having it in landscape. Yeah, okay, we'll give him a point for that.
Give him a point.
I'll give him 100 points if he says this one's big, that one's far away.
Do a Father Ted impression, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he should have had cows, not pickup trucks.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah.
Away, looking like it's half below a ship in the foreground. Well, that's just because it's restricted by the field of view. The angles have just become too acute at center frame. Everything's foreshortened. You just have no place for information.
No, it's because it's behind the other ute.
If I just go a little lower.
What, Alan?
Sorry, let Paul say his bit first.
Okay.
It's because the other ute is behind the front one. That's why you can't see it, Gary.
Yeah. And I was going to say, I noticed it's actually significantly above the centre of frame. Because, he's dropping that damn thing an awfully long way down, isn't he?
Yeah.
I wonder if you'll lift it up and say, can you see inside the ute like Democ did?
Pretty much all Gary's doing is showing why we can't see objects when they're behind other objects.
Yeah. Exactly.
But Biggest Douglas and Fred Knox have both got there. I can still see all of it, but I can still see the wheels. So, Gowie!
From that black pickup. Of course, somebody will say it's a crooked table. I think you're kind of at that point right about there. I'm still above the level of the table because you can see a little bit of the surface. You can't see the tires of the black pickup.
Actually,
well, anyhow, I'm going to change my field of view.
Oh,
just simply
Gary's point
higher.
here is that if we stand in a hole with our eyes below ground level, we can't see stuff.
Well, no shit.
Also, because the edge of the table is so close to the camera,
that's what I was going to say.
Completely out of focus. So essentially, it's got a big blur layer that obscures that partially obscures the very the top surface of the table when you get that close to it.
Yeah.
So
if he backs away a bit to bring it into focus.
Yeah, if he were to back away a bit, bring it to allow it all to be roughly in the depth of field, you would at that point still be able to see the wheels of both toy trucks.
Yeah. And who's to say that piece of wood hasn't got a slight curve in it anyway? It's not completely flat.
Yeah, I saw Elmix. The Flirts never show any measurement or evidence that their tables are A, straight, and B,
level. Yeah, that's it.
Black pickup, instead of looking lower in the frame than the white pickup, will suddenly become higher in the frame than the white pickup, just by changing my field of view.
There's a P word. I just can't quite get it out. Gary, can you help me out?
Oh, look. Now it's higher in my field of view. That would be like the ship in the background that's half buried, supposedly.
Oh, look. No, we're higher, so we can see over the top of the front pickup.
It's not.
Wow. It's no longer obstructing the back one.
Higher up in your
we can
field
see
of view,
over the
what
top
I've been
of it.
saying all along, but nobody will test it because nobody wants to see what the actual results will be. But here you go. Now I'm actually going to go back and higher to even make that more obvious. The black
Just
pickup's
like
way
when we go
up in my
higher,
field
the
of
piece
view
of land
compared
that
to
was obstructing the
the white
is now
pickup.
not obstructing it.
Now we're going to go back again to the table here. I'm going to drop it down. You're going to watch the black pickup appear to be lower in the frame.
What?
Than the white one. Oop, my camera's... There it goes.
But it's not.
Oh, and let's see if we can make those tires disappear right at the edge right here.
Well, yeah,
As
if you get the table in the way, of course they'll
There's a
disappear.
space between the bumper and the table.
Bloody hell.
Which becomes...
Stick your thumb over the lens, you'll have the same effect.
Yeah.
More so as the angle becomes severely acute to the table. Funny how that works.
My God.
Really?
Yeah.
Say all the wrong terminologies and don't make a point. They're masters at that craft.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is
Oh, look,
small.
Mum, I can make things disappear. Oh, look, Mum, I can make things disappear if I dig a big hole and put my eyes below ground level.
This is close.
I can't see anything.
Yeah.
Oh, now I can. Bloody hell.
This is close. This is far away.
Now then, these are very small. They're very far away.
I put glasses on that distort my vision and make everything blurry. I can't see them properly.
Shit, where you all gone? Oh, there you are. It's just... the fact that I swear he genuinely thinks he's making valid points, you know.
Yeah.
He'll never be proven wrong because in his mind, he's right, and that's it. He's right. Everybody else is wrong.
Why do you use two utes the same size?
Probably didn't have models. He probably didn't have two of them that were the same size.
No.
Well, anyway,
not to the same scale, anyway. What an amateur.
Oh, speaking of amateur, how are you going with your photography?
It's not going to happen with that one. I'm just not happy with it at all.
Okay.
I'll try and sort it. The tracks are an absolute bastard.
Yeah. I'm not worried about that. It was your photography skills that you were trying to sort out, trying to work that one out.
Well, not photography so much as filming them, and it's.
Yeah.
Oh God! Hang on.
What happened?
Guess the bins are actually getting empty today because I was starting to wonder. They kept talking about going on strike because it's so hot. No, the real problem is filming it whilst I'm doing it, because that arm I've got that brings me phone in over my shoulder. But unfortunately, when I'm doing close-up work, I have to do this.
Yeah.
And if it's right in front of my face, I can't film it. So I don't know. We'll see.
I told you, mirror somehow. You'd have to have a big enough mirror to film into the mirror that reflects on an angle.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know.
Maybe sometime in the future, if I can maybe sort of rearrange things and maybe come up with a different way of holding a camera.
Well, you're not on a time limit.
Well, that's good. Well, that particular kit, I am on time limit. I have to have it finished by November.
Really?
Yeah, well, there's one of the many subreddits I'm a member of. It's strangely enough a subreddit for modelling, and they have group challenges. And I've tried to enter 2 or 3 in the past, and just the deadline's gone just whoosh. But this one, it was just World War One, and it's running between the 3rd of May and the 11th. Obviously, the 11th of November, because that was the end of First World War. And I thought, well, I fancy doing another little World War One tank. Yeah, I'll do that. So. Yeah. No rush, but it's already the middle of July. and that's the problem. You think, I can easily finish that kit by such and such. It gets to the end and you look at it, you think, nope, not a cat in hell's chance.
And how many more tracks you got to put together?
I've put together about 5 of them.
Remind me again what tank it is, farmers?
It's the little French Schneider tank. You know, they had the Schneider and the Saint Chamond. The Chamond was the long one. The Schneider was the little short one, with a sort of the angled front, and the main gun was on one side. But it's based on the whole tractor. The Caterpillar tracks are, you've got the flat plate, and then you've got two pieces that have to glue on top. But there's nothing really to indicate, you know, how one side or the other, how far in front or behind they are. They're fiddly little things. I still haven't cleaned all of them up yet, because it's the way they're constructed. They've got these rails on the top part of them, and that sort of lines up with the wheels, and that's exactly where it joined onto the sprue. You look at it, you think, did you do it like that? A lot of kit manufacturers are guilty of this. They give no thought as to how some poor bugger's actually got to take them all off the sprues and clean them up. Some do, but most don't. Most don't seem to care. So yeah, I'm having a bit of a mare with that. So
as Stevie said, stick the mirror to your forehead.
I mean, I can see. I've seen people who've got YouTube channels doing this, and I know they've got a camera that's directly above them somehow, and they can quite happily sort of, you know, sit just out of the way of the camera and do everything. Well, with my eyesight, I have to get things a bit closer, and if they get too close, then these glasses just can't cope, and I have to take the glasses off. Which is fine if you're not trying to video yourself doing it and describing what you're doing all at the same time.
Yeah.
So, one of these days. I think what I might do is create my own Discord channel or something, and just have some files in there that just catalogue the whole process, but in sort of photo form. I don't know.
Well, you can chuck it in my server if you want.
Yeah, well, I had been thinking about creating my own server and just dumping all the stuff in there, you know, all my photos and modelling bits, and just in case anybody's ever interested in it. But
so have we got bottle caps or a hard quiz?
I was muted.
I've
got a quiz.
You're muted.
I was muted, yeah. I've got a physics quiz today. Let me get all organised.
And how they get that word wrong too, the word physics, derived from the physical or whatever.
Albie says there's an easy solution to farmers. Get a bigger model kit.
What a real life-size one.
Well, I do 1/35th scale. The next size up, and there are a few kits now, is 1/16th scale. So yeah, they are pretty much twice as big. The problem is making things twice as big just means they can put in even more detail, and oh boy, are they expensive.
Oh yeah, you can
so
get
that's why.
Amount. Yeah.
That's why I could do. Yeah, I might have to look at that. But that's why I tend to do 1/35th, A, because it's the most common scale, and all the aftermarket bits are set up for that. B, they're a decent size. On average, they're going to be about yay big, except obviously for some of the older and older stuff. And C, it's like a cost thing. You know, I can spend 30, 40 quid on a kit. Admittedly, I can spend that more than that on all the extra bits if I want to. But it is perfectly feasible to make a kit out of the box for 30 or 40 quid. Whereas 1/16 scale, you know, they're over 100 quid.
What scale's the one they drive up the ramp into the back of their station wagons? The radio control ones.
I don't know whether they're 1/16th or even bigger than that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, they drive them up on a couple of ramps, like on for your lawnmower.
They'll be bigger. They are probably, 1 in 4, 1 in 8, something like that. And they tend to be made out of metal.
They look fairly detailed.
Yeah, well, they most of them aren't plastic. Yeah. They will be, the holes will be made out of aluminium and that sort of thing. But yeah, they ain't cheap either.
Biggest dog said, I believe scale tanks still around, usually in the 40 to 50% scale. Wow.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that company's still going.
That'd nearly fit in your garage.
Yeah, exactly.
So the neighbours see you drive a tank out of your garage one day.
Hey, look, if I'm going to do that, I'm going up the road to see Mick, and I'll buy he's got a handful of scimitars. They're quite nice. They're relatively small. He's got quite a few of them at the moment. Yeah, if I'm going to do that, I'm buying the real bloody thing, ain't I? And I'm tipping him £1,000 to get me Category H tracked vehicle license.
Yeah.
So you can take it on the road, because those ones you can, because they've got rubber blocks in the tracks.
Rubber on them, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're relatively speaking not that expensive to run, are they?
No, they're not.
The bugger to go shopping, isn't it?
Not compared to a Centurion or a Chieftain or something like that.
No, it's not got any prices on the scimitars. Last time I went past, he'd got 3 of them parked out the front. I mean, they're just under 8 tons. They're a light tank. They're a reconnaissance vehicle.
You wouldn't have any worries about parking down the shopping centre, would you?
Yeah. Yeah.
You make me think of
Are you thinking of a Kenny Everett character?
That's the Kenny Everett.
The general. What was he got those huge shoulder pads, hadn't he? Yeah, parking the Sherman tank. Yeah, on top of somebody else's car.
Or the episode of Mr. Bean when he got his mini crushed by the tank, eh?
Although generally, I mean, at Nick's place, they're always looking for second-hand cars. Quite usually, they will try and take the engine out first, because the engine can easily get caught up in the tracks, and then as that comes around, that can do quite a lot of damage. You have to be careful flattening cars with tanks, because that's quite easy to damage the tracks, or even shed a track. That's why they have to slow down for corners.
Okay.
Because a 60-ton tank at 45 mile an hour executing a 90-degree corner, you can kiss your track goodbye. It'll just come off. Oh,
not unless it's on a slippery, tarred surface.
Not unless you're cheating. Yeah, I've bought a few kits from there, Stevie B. I am a patron of that shop. Yes.
At least you get something substantial to show for what you spend, though, I suppose, farmers. In the end.
Ooh, I really shouldn't look at this guy's website. Oh dear.
Whereas me, I bought a second-hand turntable just recently, right?
Yep.
A second-hand Technics turntable, because they're a reasonably good brand. But I decided to upgrade the cartridge on the end of it. That little bit of kit there, cost me about half as much as what the turntable
did. Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
All right, let me share a screen and I'll get into a quiz.
Check out Tankman's channel. He's made several 40% scale.
Gosh.
All right.
Yes, please.
You reckon you can handle that?
Oh, if only I was 30 years younger, eh?
Yeah,
okay, 20. Okay, last week. Gadzooks.
So Today's quiz is all about physics. It's just a physics quiz today.
What, no numbers?
The answer's not going to be Fleetwood Mac then.
Not Fleetwood Mac.
No formulas, no numbers?
Here we go. Question 1. Mosul investigated a variation of this problem that involved a Pythagorean triangle. What problem is this? This is a problem, not numbers. No? Okay. Sundman found a solution to this problem which involved a power series with powers of the cube root of time. What problem is this? Stevie B says time for housework.
Work. Kettles. The mug's looking.
Mine's got a bit cold too.
My God, I ain't the faintest idea.
Okay, you will. The figure 8 family is one set of solutions to this problem. No. A quantum analogue of this problem is the H2 plus ion, and a restricted form of this problem has 5 equilibrium points, which are named for Lagrange. What is this problem? It's not space triangles. Not orbits, although it can have something to do with orbits. This problem was shown by Poincaré to not have a general solution that can be expressed in terms of algebraic expressions and integrals. What problem is this? Not orbits. Last clue. Name this unsolved problem proposed by Newton, which involves predicting the motion of a certain number of celestial objects that is often modelled by the Sun, Earth and Moon. What problem is this?
It's not.
That's it, Alan. That's the one. But you were beaten by Clive Wells out there and followed closely by Truth Nerds. It is the 3-body problem. Hey. Okay, question 2. A value for the importance of centrifugal forces relative to viscous forces has a value equal to 1708 when described by this adjective. What adjective is this? Okay, another clue. In 1950, Maxwell and Reynolds found that a quantity named for this adjective for a superconductor depends on the isotropic mass of the constituent elements. What adjective is this?
No idea.
No. Calculating a quantity described by this adjective requires a fudge factor, which takes into account geometric effects. What adjective is this? Not Newtonian. A tamper is used to decrease a value described by this adjective. What adjective is this? Not a shed load. A common decaffeination method uses carbon dioxide, which is above a point described by this word, and beyond that point liquids and gases become impossible to distinguish. What is this adjective? And you'll get it on this clue. Name this word which is used to describe the angle of incidence that causes total internal reflection. not supercritical. Try and shorten it a bit, Biggers. That's the one, Alan. Yay. That's the one, Biggest Douglas. It's the critical angle, or critical is the adjective. Yeah.
Oh.
All right, question 3. Page and Wooters argued that this phenomenon could be used to measure time. What is this phenomenon? Phenomenon.
Doctors' waiting rooms. Time always moves differently in those places.
It does, yeah. Or as Douglas Adams said, lunchtime, doubly so.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
To which I believe the retort was, Reader's Digest have sections for people like you.
Or as they say, time flies like an arrow. Fruit flies like a banana. Qian Xiang Wu was the first to provide evidence of this phenomenon, although it had been theorized to exist earlier. What is this phenomenon? The CHSH inequality can be used to prove a statement that says that no theory with local hidden variables can explain this phenomenon. What is this phenomenon? It's not a clock, it's not an increase in entropy, it's not radioactive decay. Not washing machine clocks? No. That theory is named for Bell, who also names states that experience the maximum amount of this phenomenon. What is this phenomenon? The fact that this phenomenon appeared to break a law of physics was discussed in the EPR paradox.
Bloody hell's that?
Einstein, Podolsky, Rosen.
Oh, yeah, right. Ooh, what?
We've got some correct answers out in the peanuts out there. Name this phenomenon in which spatially separated particles have correlated quantum states, which Einstein described spooky action at a distance.
Yeah, well, I'll go with all those correct answers out there now, Paul.
That's the ones. Yep. The ones that all say quantum entanglement. They're the ones. Yep. Yes. Question 4. Solutions to these equations are called dusts. Flat Minkowski space is an example of a trivial solution to these equations, and Schwarzschild developed the first non-trivial solution to these equations. What are these equations? This is an easy one.
Well, I don't know, but I do know I like fluffy kittens.
In the context of being easy, Paul, you've got to realise it might be easy because you know the answer.
Is that close to the correct answer, Paul?
No.
Not even vaguely adjacent.
Black hole event horizons you might be able to calculate using these, but
okay.
No. It's the equations that I'm after, Alan. What equations are these?
Okay. All right.
Yeah. 8 pi times big G all over C to the 4th power is a constant that appears in these equations. What are they? These equations were later edited to include a capital lambda term. Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. I like that. Astaire.
Fred Astaire.
Astaire.
Oh, is he the Irish version?
Yeah, it must be.
Right.
Yeah.
Name's Fred. Fred Astaire.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
That term was the cosmological constant, and it was later considered to be its creator's biggest blunder. Name this set of 10 equations, often written in tensor notation, which is named for the physicist who developed general relativity. I think the peanuts are getting it out there. Well, Clive Wells is anyway.
I kind of half got it in here, didn't I?
Yeah. That's the shortened version. That's the version that most people know or recognise as Einstein's field equations, right? That's a highly condensed format of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what they really look like.
Yes.
All right. So that top bit there is a representation of Einstein's field equations, right, with the 10 equations in there. If you take one of those equations, circled in red there, and expand it out, it looks like that. So you've got another 9 that can be expanded out like that.
Jesus.
Yeah. And flat earthers think that they understand what general relativity is about, right? No.
Yeah, righto.
Well, I might have had that equation in my head when I was trying to write the answer, not remembering what it was called.
Yeah. All right. Question 5. A quantity symbolised by this letter appears on the y-axis for Moore's circle. What letter is this?
Oh, what a letter.
Yeah, what letter? You might think you've got 26 to choose from, right?
No, what's more than that?
But remember, there are other alphabets in use in physics as well.
Oh, yes.
It's probably Greek.
Yeah. Donut was an experiment that set out to investigate interactions of particles named for this letter. What is this letter? It's not R. Besides, R's been debunked, right?
Yeah, apparently.
It's not omega. It's not angstrom. No. A particle named for this letter is the only one of its kind that can decay into a hadron due to its large mass value. What letter is this? It's not lambda. It's not beta. No. For a circuit with an inductor and a resistor, a quantity symbolised by this letter is equal to L over R. What is this letter? Alan's probably going to get it now.
No, because I've had a complete brain fart.
No, M2M, it's not one of those because it's not in that alphabet. The reciprocal of the decay constant is equal to a quantity symbolised by this letter. That quantity is mean lifetime. What is this letter? It's not omega. It's not Q. In addition to shear stress, this letter represents a quantity equal to R cross F. What is this letter? Damn you, says Sim to him. Oh. Name this letter which is used to represent torque and also mathematical constant equal to 2 pi. What is it? That's the one, Alan. Yes. Bet you were beaten by Clive Wells and Biggest Doggers. Yeah. It is indeed. Yeah. That letter.
I think I was about equal with Biggest Doggers.
Yeah.
But,
Clive got it first, yeah. It is Tau.
Would that be Tau?
That'd be Tau, yeah.
Just delivered this morning. It's a Tau. I just got a Tau.
Never be caught without your towel. Oh, no,
that's right.
That's towel. That's towel.
Oh, yeah, it's towel. Yeah, you got to know where your towel is.
Yeah. Question 6. The first definition of a meter by Picard was related to one of these devices. What devices are these?
That's weird because I thought the definition of meter.
Do dogs
No end to
age
end.
like we?
Oh, know what Terry's doing?
Yeah, no M to M. T isn't close enough to tau. No. It's not planet Earth. No. One of these devices is attached to a car in a classic control theory question.
Yeah, see, I thought a meter was supposed to be 1/10,000th of the distance from the pole to the equator.
Picard facepalm. No, not a tachyon. No. It's not a marital aid. No. The equation 3 cos theta 1 plus cos theta 2 equals 2 relates to a form of this device. Now Clive's going to get it, isn't he? Okay. The Allais effect relates to these devices, and Kapitsa names a type of this device. What are these devices? It's not an odometer. No. The square root of mgh over L appears in an equation relating to a physical one of these objects, and their double type is often associated with chaos. I reckon Alan's got it. That's it, Alan. Yep. They're not adjustable bras, no.
Something on your mind there, Matt.
Yeah.
Get in here.
Name these devices whose simple type consists of a mass on a string, which are commonly used in grandfather clocks. That's the one, Clive.
Oh, right.
Yes. They are pendulums. Oh dear.
I think you've got a slightly related pend word there, Paul.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Question 7. This person wrote their thesis on the interactions of fast neutrons with lead. Who is it? Right. Along with Livengood and Fairbrother, this man created a new isotope of iron, iron 59. Who was it? He would later work with Livengood to create a different isotope, which is today used to treat thyroid disease. That isotope is iodine 131. Who was this man?
Not a clue.
He chaired the US Atomic Energy Commission for 10 years, and in 1944 this man developed the actinide concept. Who is it? It's not Fermi. No, it's not Donald Trump. With Kennedy and Segre, he discovered that plutonium-239 was fissile. Not Nathan Oakley. No. Oh, God. This physicist added 10 new elements to the periodic table. Who was it? Not Oppenheimer. No. Name this man who was the first living person to have an element named after him, which was element 106. Who is it? Not teller? No. This is him. Anyone know?
No.
Nope. A serious looking
Well,
dude, three-piece suit.
we have a question that hasn't gone off. This is one for the books. They named him Element 106. An odd name.
No, his name's actually unobtainable.
Yeah.
They tried to phone him and they said, sorry, unobtainable. Oh, right, we'll call it unobtainium.
No, it was Glenn Seaborg. He
Nope,
actually
never heard of
discovered quite a few elements, yeah. Never heard of him?
Nope.
Oh, wow. Well, there you go. You've learnt something today. Question 8. Feynman described how this experiment differs from a similar situation involving a machine gun shooting bullets inaccurately. What experiment is this? That's the one, Alan. You got it. A simplified version of this experiment can be performed using a device named for Mach and Zender. What experiment? Afshar demonstrated the principle of complementarity by using a version of this experiment, and Wheeler discussed a variant known as the delayed choice experiment. What experiment is it? Not electron scattering. But they've all got it now out there. It's not a Glenn Serio either. Yes, it is the double slit experiment. The concept of negative probabilities is often demonstrated using this experiment. This experiment operates by producing fringes of light and dark called interference patterns. Name this experiment conducted by Thomas Young, which demonstrated the wave nature of light using its namesake apparatus. It is the double slit experiment. Yeah. Yes. Second last question. Brillouin names a form of this process that can be used to sense mechanical strain in optical fibres. What is this process? Riley's egg experiment. No. Okay, a 785 nanometer laser is often used in one form of this effect, and another magnetic form of it uses circularly polarized photons to measure magnetic moments in ferromagnetic materials. What is this process? It's not the Sagnac effect, no. An example of an example of this, of the inverse of this process, occurs when CMB photons gain energy in an effect named for Sunyaev and Zeldovich. It's not polarization. No. H or MC times 1 minus cosine theta gives the wavelength shift for a type of this process. What is this process? Alan's having another guess. No, it's not Doppler shift, Alan. No. The differential cross-section of a form of this process is given by the Klein-Nishina formula, and another form of this process explains why the sky is blue. What is this process? Come on, that's got to give it away. Not dispersion.
Oh, bollocks, I'm on the wrong screen. I'll get rid of that. Oh, just got something very weird come up on the other screen as soon as I started typing.
Name this process where energy is exchanged in a collision of two particles, which has types named for Compton and Rayleigh. Yeah. You got it now, Alan.
Yeah.
That's the one, Farmer's Boy, yes. You were just beaten by Clive out there. Judy's got it. Truth Nerds has got it. Yep, it is scattering.
I think my live chat must be somewhat behind Paul's at the minute, even though I've got the 212 speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, our live chat here in the UK lags behind theirs a little bit. Pardon me.
Last question. A form of acceleration named for this man relates to how much energy is gained during the motion of charged particles in the presence of magnetic mirrors.
You're tiny.
Who was this bloke?
Bet your boots I haven't heard of him.
I bet your boots you have.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We'll see.
This man thought that he had discovered element 94, which he called Hesperium, but it was later shown to be a mixture of other elements. Who was this? Okay. The probability of a quantum eigenstate is given by this man's golden rule, and a gas named after this person exerts pressure even at absolute zero. Who is it? It's not Maxwell. It's not Boris Johnson.
Robert Maxwell, the guy who was pushed to his death off his yacht. Oh no, sorry,
No.
he committed suicide.
Fell off.
No, yeah, bollocks did he?
Element 100 is named for this man, and he names a probability function along with Dirac. Who is it?
See, these are all names that just never get committed to my memory.
Yeah.
But if you want to ask me about the famous Tiger Tank Commander Otto Carius, I'm your man, you know.
Yeah. You'll know after this clue anyway. Name this man, Italian-American, who created Chicago Pile Number 1, the first man-made nuclear chain reaction, and worked on the Manhattan Project. Who was it, Farmer's Boy?
Oh, God, there's no end of me worked on that.
Was it the one I mentioned earlier, Paul?
It was, yeah.
Okay, fine.
You were just ahead of your time, Alan.
Okay.
That was
Yeah. It was this bloke. It was that bloke who Clive Wells got. It was Enrico Fermi.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have vaguely heard of him.
Yeah.
See, physics really isn't my thing. It's
I know.
No.
I'll have to do another tank quiz, right?
Yeah, I'll be fine, but that'll just bore the pants off everybody else, won't it?
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. That was your quiz for today.
Well, thank you very
Paul.
much.
Thank you, Paul.
Even if most of it was...
Yeah, we're a little bit involved after that.
I was just one answer on the first clue.
That's a towel.
Oh, it's Warhammer.
Yeah, I fancied a change.
I didn't realise you were into that stuff.
I've been into it since before it was
The
Warhammer.
Okay.
Well, back then it was called Rogue Trader. I do the figures. I've never, ever played the war games, but I've got all the books. Literally. do a C plus programming quiz next time. Who's she then?
All right.
Oh.
Yeah. C++.
Yeah. Can we make it a bastardized mixture of C and C++? That would be even more fun. What I usually wrote all my software in.
I don't write software.
No.
I use it.
I am actually working on a Lindsay quiz, but it's going to take me a while.
Oh no!
Because there's only so much of it I can take it.
Yeah, any one time, yeah.
Yeah.
What if we weren't taking any notice because it didn't make sense?
Question 1. What do you think Lindsay means here? Question 2. I know this one. Question 3. No, come back. Don't run away.
What movie is it you've got playing in the background there, Paul?
Oh, you want to have a guess?
It's Raiders of the Lost something or other, but it's not Raiders.
It's not Raiders.
No, it's not Raiders.
I thought that might be Scorpion King because it's got.
You are correct, Farmer's Boy.
Because it's what's it? The Rock. I can't remember his real name.
Yeah, it was Scorpion King. Yeah.
Yeah, because that was like because he come up in was it the second Mummy film? Was it the Mummy or something? Was it the Mummy film? And it was really bad CGI. I mean, appallingly bad CGI. And then I think they thought, oh, let's do like a prequel to tell his story. And it was like, really?
Well, so Scorpion King or something, wasn't it? Or...
Scorpion King, yeah.
Okay. So Truth Nurse says deal on the C++ quiz.
Oh yes, thank you, Zebulon. Dwayne Johnson, that was it. The Rock, I believe they call him.
Fred Brady says, wasn't NASA quality CGI then?
It was the second one. It was The Mummy Returns. And he comes in as sort of like, some weird mutant between him and the Scorpion. And you just looked at it and went, oh, God, there were certain films that the CGI was just, I guess, an afterthought. It doesn't stand the test of time.
Yeah. Melvin seems to be happy with the tank quiz.
I knew he would be, yeah. Yeah.
I might get a few myself, but, we all know my specialist subject, don't we?
What, radar?
Yeah, well, and target, right, and targets.
Oh, yeah. Well, I know a fair bit about the targets as well. I'm not just a tank man. All these books aren't just on tanks.
Okay.
And aircraft and submarines.
And surface targets?
I think it's one or two, but I've never really been into.
It's what the submariners call the surface things, isn't it?
Yes.
Targets.
Yeah, I've got one or two, I think. I don't think they're in here. Oh no, there's a couple down there. British battleships, British warships. That's about it. I've never really got into ships.
Yeah. Was it rule 1? Don't make your frigates out of aluminium magnesium.
No, that burns pretty well.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Yeah. Yes, that was 40 years ago, wasn't it?
It was, yes. April 1982.
Yes.
I have recently just finished an absolutely fascinating book by one of the Paras, who was there, and when they assaulted Goose Green. There's an awful lot of stuff in there I just hadn't heard about, hadn't read about, hadn't seen anything about.
Yeah, well, that Goose Green attack was completely and utterly pointless, wasn't it?
To a certain degree, yeah.
From a strategic, from a winning the war point of view, that was completely pointless. It was a political move to have a victory that they thought would be
but
they could talk about.
But the poor sods, you know, sort of what they went through, and basically, right, we're here, the Argentinians are over there, and it's pretty much an open piece of flat ground in between the two. Off you go.
Yeah, and just light infantry, the lightest of light infantry.
Yes, yeah. I mean, the Paras, you know, they don't have heavy gear, they don't have sort of all the backup and all the rest of it. And reading the accounts, bloody book, Nigel Ely, I think the chap's name is. It's only come out recently. I've got it on Kindle. And when you're sort of reading about how exposed they are, and they're getting attacked by these Pucara ground attack aircraft, and the Argentinians had got, I think it was a 20mm anti-aircraft gun set up. Just, I think it was in the school or something, and they were using that to shoot the Paras up as they're trying to advance. What they went through is quite unbelievable. And there's an awful lot in there about Colonel H, the guy who got the posthumous VC. Quite interesting to read about him. He was, how should we say this politely, a bit of a character.
So I've heard.
Yes. That was it, yeah, Jones.
Colonel H. Jones.
Jones, yes. They used to call him Colonel H. But yeah, he was...
There is a pub in Great Yarmouth called the Colonel H.
But yeah, it's what's the book called? Let's consult my list. Is actually a fascinating read because it's the whole thing, the call up, you know, the ship's going down there and all the rest of it. It's quite a read. Because I've never really bothered reading up on the Falklands War because I still remember most of it quite clearly, watching it on the telly at the time.
Yeah.
But I think this came up cheap on Amazon. I thought, oh yeah, another Kindle book for £1. I'll have that. And that was...
Well, it was pretty much inspiration for an entire Pink Floyd album, right?
Was it? Which one? Because that's After the Wall, and the final cut was basically everything that didn't make it on the wall. And I'm trying to think what came after that.
I can't remember which one it was, but the
can't think, don't know. But yeah, the book I'm on about is Goose Green, The Decisive Battle of the Falklands War by the British troops who fought it, written by Nigel Ely, who was one of the Paras, 2 Para, I think it was. It's a very, very good book, very revealing.
Well, I've narrowed down 12 videos down to 4.
Oh, good work. Good work. 12. Blimey.
Yeah, it took a bit of doing. There was a few. Anton's was about 3 or 4 of them because he drops them pretty quick.
Oh, he just churns them out, doesn't he?
Everett was the same. He had a few.
Oh yes, he's had, yeah. He's
Two
had a
short,
few.
two shorties from Simon.
Yeah.
Mr. 42 had one out last night as well, didn't he?
Yeah, we both got shout outs, didn't we?
So I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
Yeah, because he made that request for photos, didn't he?
Yeah, and I photobombed him with 10 images.
I just sent him one. Yeah, thanks, that'll do.
You know why I photobombed him with only 10 images, don't you?
What is that?
It's the maximum amount Discord will allow you to upload in one post.
Oh, right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Oh, dear.
Flat Earthers are confused by the sun angle. Is that the one?
That's the one.
Yes, the one.
Come out about 7 o'clock our time. No, about 10 o'clock our time last night.
Something like that, yeah.
Because it was while Blue was on. While Blue's stream was on, wasn't it?
Yeah, I nearly jumped into that, but I'd done other things and then had a shower, and all I wanted to do basically just veg out in front of the telly for an hour or two. So I thought, another time, you know.
I thought I saw you in there for a minute, or were you in there before we started streaming for a minute or three?
I don't think so.
Because I know we were chatting like our late afternoon, weren't we?
Yeah, then I went off and joined in Jose's.
Yeah, and then Blue went live a bit later, after Jose's. But I thought I saw you in there, but maybe I'm.
No, I didn't. I hummed and hawed and then thought, no, when you literally spend all day sitting here, sort of, working and joining in all the nonsense, and then Jose goes, and then before you know it, it's like 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and you think, I just need to get out of this chair. I need to go and sit somewhere else.
Yeah, I kind of know what you mean.
And if I don't do that, then the downstairs cat starts to sulk. She wants me to come and sit on the sofa so she can sit next to me and get lots of fuss whilst I watch the telly. You have to think of these things when you've got two cats who hate each other.
So one prefers it upstairs and one prefers it downstairs?
Squeak's the upstairs cat, Bubble is the downstairs cat, the black one. And their paths only cross when it's time to eat or to go outside. Because that means going into the kitchen. Bless their hearts, feel like banging their bloody heads together sometimes.
One doesn't have a preference for what you watch on TV.
No. Actually, what she really likes doing now is if I'm sat on the sofa, she'll come and sit on the back of the sofa next to me and just purr and purr and purr. I mean, my gosh, she's got a purr on her. I think she's starting to develop breathing problems, to be honest. She might have to go to the vet soon. But they're both of them the same. As long as they're near me, they're happy. But she can't be near me if I'm sat up here.
I think yourself and Paul need to have a quick look at Vim Frondel's last post in the side chat.
Some things left over from the water. Others written by waters. Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's he talking about?
Right. What's planned this Pink Floyd album, the final cut? That's the one that came after The Wall. Yeah. What's planned the album as a soundtrack for the 1982 film adaptation of The Wall. With the onset of the Falklands War, he rewrote it as a concept album exploring what he considered the betrayal of his father, who died serving in the Second World War. Because that's the last album that Roger Waters was involved with.
Yeah.
Well, if we squeeze in Mr. 42, we'll have 3 10-minute videos and two short ones, I think.
It's what, 45 minutes worth?
I also play him at Lindsay speed. And guess who's first?
Oh, God.
God, that looks like gun users.
It's Democ.
Democ.
Dim.
Yeah, exactly. Try and figure out what he's trying to do in this one, because I ain't got a clue.
What's that, Paul?
I was just doing a demo. Jim, jam, bitch, cunt.
Yeah, just make words up and put them in a sentence.
Yeah.
And with a few expletives thrown in.
Yeah.
A few?
He makes the whole sentence out of them.
I know.
Wait till the music finishes.
Alright. Test. I think number 8. I don't fucking know. Anyway, look. Jimmy, Jim, Jam, Jim, Jim, Bomb, Jim, Jimmy, Jim, Jimmy, Jim, Jimbo.
Cut out the jibber jabber. Don't be babbling like a fool. Say what you got to say. That's all. Then shut your dang pie hole.
Okay, we got a globe here. Globe. I'm not fucking showing you a flat earth, you retard-ass motherfuckers.
Hey, bud, what's your problem?
I'm showing you your fucking idiotic-ass fucking globe.
Good, great, grand, wonderful.
See that fucking nail? That's straight up and down vertical, retard motherfuckers. See this nail? That's straight up and down vertical. You see that cap on the left, which represents what the fuck is that on a globe?
Oh yeah, that was scientific.
That's what a globe looks like. See that cap? See that? Tilted towards the observer, which is the nail. See that?
You're on a whole other tangent. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Look, on a globe, if it's tilted towards him, he can see right down into it without moving anywhere. Just zoom forward. See that? And then we got another one tilted away from him. That no matter what little Jimmy fucking Jim, John, Jimmy, Joe, Tim, Tom, Tim does, he's not gonna see what's in the other cap. Now here we have a level. See that? See that little bubble in there? This is just a little level. You can get a smaller one. See those ants? See those little ants crawling around? That's you. See that? You think that ant doesn't know that he's on a fucking curve?
Are you like a crazy person?
Look at that, Jimmy Jim. Look. Look what happens to the bubble on a curved surface. Jim. Look at that. Look. Watch that bubble. Oh, yeah.
What demon from the depths of hell created me?
You know what the bubble does on a flat surface? Stays right there, Jim Jam. See that? That's what a level surface looks like, boys and girls. On an ant, look, that's your mountains and hills and everything. Look, you raise up and down, vertically, no fucking reaction.
Gentlemen, I wash my hands of this weirdness.
So look at this. Look what happens when I go match the mountain down there. Look what happens to the level. Look at that. Look. Any degree of movement. Why is that? Why does the level do that?
You know, with your limited grasp on seemingly everything, I don't expect you to understand.
See that? Look at that. See that? See? This don't happen on no fucking flat plane. That don't happen. Look at that.
To call you stupid would be an insult to stupid people. I've known sheep that could outwit you. I've worn dresses with higher IQs.
Look, see the nail? The nail's straight up and down. That's your imaginary fucking idea of what your fucking goofy gimp fucking globe's like.
Man, you are one twisted fuck.
But look what happens in reality. Not today, bitch. Not today, no Glober. Nice try, motherfuckers. Globe debunked.
Would you mind telling me whose brain I did put in? Abby someone.
This is classic.
Somebody say Frau Blucher.
Abby who? I be normal.
Normal.
That'd be normal.
Oh, I must watch that film again. That's so when he just says to the when they all go inside the castle and he just sticks his head out and goes, Frau Blucher, and the horses go wild because every time somebody says Frau Blucher, they all start neighing and jumping about.
Yeah.
And she scowls every time somebody does it. Oh, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Werewolf, their wolf, their castle. It's a brilliant film, and the dance routine at the end. Another race. Oh dear. That Denmark. I mean, he's just. I don't know. Is it drugs or is it something else that's just eating his brain away?
I've got no idea. That one.
Wasn't he the one that pulled out all his teeth?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know why. There is a story to it, but I can't recall it. But yeah, he pulled all his own teeth out.
Oh.
Yep. Surely the actions of the same man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, me.
Do lemmings really commit suicide?
Oh, blimey, that's another one, isn't it? I won't spoil it for you. I'm sure you know the answer already.
I used to play a computer game with lemmings.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can almost remember how the music went as well.
Do lemmings really commit suicide? Now, if you're as old as me, then you'll remember the popular video game Lemmings. You basically had to keep as many lemmings alive as possible as you navigated the levels because they would have literally walked off a cliff if you allowed it. But do lemmings really have suicidal tendencies in real life, or is that belief all a product of this game? Lemmings are a small burrowing rodent that look a little bit like hamsters and live in the northern regions of Canada, Alaska and Scandinavia. Famously aggressive, these lemming populations are known to fluctuate vigorously. Now, of course, as a rodent, the lemming is a prodigious reproducer with two different species, the brown lemming and the Norway lemming, having some pretty large population booms. But the idea of lemmings jumping off cliffs and committing suicide must have come from somewhere because it didn't come from the game. The game was copying this belief. When a particularly large yielding of lemmings youngsters occurs, known as a lemming year, it is well known that some large groups of populations will set off to find pastures new, and that's due to the extreme population density of their colony. Now, this huge population drop could have led people to believe that some lemmings were offing themselves in the middle of the night. But one particular story might explain a bit better this popular belief that lemmings commit suicide. In 1958, an Academy Award-winning documentary by Disney called White Wilderness showed swathes of lemmings throwing themselves off a cliff. It seemed that this was an entirely natural thing, with no reasonable evidence to suggest why they would do this. It turns out that Disney paid the local indigenous population $1 per lemming, loaded them all into the back of a truck, and chucked them off a cliff.
Oh,
savage, eh?
Really?
Whichever way you look at it, lemmings certainly do not have suicidal tendencies. And if anyone ever says they do, you can calmly correct them. I've been Simon Dan, this has been another Misconception Mini, and I'll see you next time. Subscribe here, definitely click that one.
It is
100% click that one.
That's where it comes
and then
from.
more videos there.
Wow.
I mean, click that one as well if you want. I mean, they're there, so you may as well click them.
You know, there's an award-winning Disney film showing lemmings throwing themselves off a cliff. Must be true.
Must be true.
Yeah. Of course, the other thing is that when travelling, when they go on that expedition to find new pastures, small animals like that can kind of jump off quite high. Edges and bluffs and stuff,
and survive.
It's so small and light; they have a very low terminal velocity.
You've seen the documentary of these birds that were born on the side of cliffs, I don't know if it's either gannets or some sort of bird. And then when they're born, if they fall out of the nest or whatever, they fall down the cliff and they roll down, you know, hundreds of meters down. Yeah.
No, I'm not seen that one. I don't think that's gannets. I think gannets nest on cliffs, do they? I think.
Oh, there was some sort of bird.
Probably there's a lot of seabirds live on cliffs, don't they?
Yeah. Just think, no, it's not puffins either because they burrow, don't they? They'll be on top of the cliffs, not in the sides. I don't know.
Oh, I better play Mr. 42. I haven't played him for a while.
Yeah.
Sunlight is confusing flat earthers again. Again?
Constantly.
What are they going to get wrong this time?
Everything.
Ah.
If it's really quiet, you can hear Adam cry.
Cartoons, cartoons, cartoon, cartoon, cartoons, cartoon, 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 cartoons.
Good day, gentle people. It's your favorite Mr. 42. Welcome back to the channel. In my last video I made a prediction that Leo would cry about cartoons. And oh boy did he. But before I show you, I have to welcome my latest patron, @Roberts. Thank you very much for your support. If you also want to support this channel, check the description for Patreon or YouTube membership.
Last week I highlighted one of the many reasons the globe earth theory is quite frankly ridiculous.
No, you didn't. You only showed us how little you understand and how much you lie.
In that instance, I cited timeanddate.com's day and night map, world map, showing the areas in sunlight and of course the areas in dark.
That he did. It's just a bit weird that if you talk about this picture, that you do not mention twilight whatsoever.
And then I showed a globe, like we're seeing on our screen right now.
And again, the sun is not 24,635 kilometers away. But if I stretch Google Earth to its maximum zoom of about 64,000 kilometers, we can already see more of the Earth's surface.
In fact, that was the picture from timeanddate.com, showing the sun's position above North Africa, showing the areas in sunlight, pretty much most of the Earth as we can see.
Oh yeah, that's right. You started using that picture.
And then I showed the globe Earth, in this instance Google Earth, which is exactly the same as your globe you can buy in any shop.
Sorry, can we hear that again?
Your globe,
no,
globe.
The other part.
Google Earth, which is exactly the same as your globe you can buy in any shop.
Okay, so Google Earth is accepted.
And of course you can see the obvious problem from the Google Earth image where I've lined it up, showing North Africa in the middle of our screen. And of course it's plain to see when we come from the time and date map to the globe that it would be impossible for the areas that are lit up at this point in time last Friday if the Earth was a ball.
Ignorance and misunderstanding is not evidence, Adam. It is perfectly possible and you know it.
Cartoons. Impossible. 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 Impossible.
Sorry, I got a bit carried away there. Let's continue.
But the reality-denying, globe-pushing clowns can't let their delusion lie.
And isn't it ironic?
They have to fight tooth and nail and literally have to make themselves look fucking... But I'm at peace with it now. ...insane in doing so.
Don't you think?
As they've supposedly debunked this.
This? This doesn't need any debunking. It's perfectly fine to represent day and night this way.
But wait and see what they've served up. And here's the video in question, titled Leo and Banjo, Dear Oh Dear. This globe believer's going to cite a globe being lit up, the area's lit up, just like time and date showed us.
Okay Adam, so you provided us with an image, someone else uses that to demonstrate something, that should be fine, right?
The problem is, we don't get a practical demonstration showing a single light source lighting a globe, lighting up the areas that Time and Date last week showed us were lit. No, 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 no. We get a cartoon.
An image that you provided.
As so-called evidence or proof.
Spoiler alert. It was not evidence and it was not proof. It was pure a demonstration that the impossible day of the globe is completely possible.
Play it from here. Watch this, Tosh. I mean, already you can see the problem.
Problem? What problem?
North America, Canada gone, a lot of Russia gone, South America, most of it gone.
You would think that Adam has never seen a ball in his life. Adam, if you're close to a ball, you will see less than 50%. If you're further away, you will see half of the ball. But you will not see the surfaces on the side. That's how it works. That's how simple it is.
What are these guys thinking?
Did IQs just drop sharply while I was away?
But then he rotates his cartoon ball round. Rather than cite a practical reference using a globe and a torch that we can all test and verify for ourselves.
Do you really need a demonstration that a far enough light source can illuminate half of a ball?
Not that we need to.
Okay, so we don't need to do that. So what is left? Take a globe, draw the Terminator line from dateandtide.com and you will see that it fits a great circle perfectly. So there is really no issue at all, Adam. It's just your imagination going wild again. Or are you lying?
This should be obvious for anyone with even half a brain.
That is enough, Adam, for today. I will now play Josh Lay's animation that Adam was showing on screen. After that, I'll come back with Daniel Pratt.
I hope that music's not copyright.
I'd be very surprised if it was.
Conclusion: both Leo and Banjo are stupid flat earthers. But
it's just because I don't have the patience and the editing skills to go through it. But if someone like P-Brain or anyone else wants to destroy the asinine argument of the underside of clouds are lit up because the sun's going underneath the horizon and it's below them and lighting them from underneath.
That is a boring topic. Why did I choose that video again? Ah yeah, Pratt deleted that video. What is he hiding?
It's asinine. And I can easily prove it. I'm going to leave a link to a children's video that discusses the laws of reflection and makes it very clear that the angle of incidence, in other words, the angle of the sun reflecting off of the world's largest mirror, which happens to be the salt flats in Bolivia when they're covered with water.
You needed a children's video to understand that finally. And still you didn't apply it correctly. Let's see.
You can find many images that show the undersides of clouds being brightly lit up. And the sun is nowhere near setting. It can be well above you in the sky. And if you follow the same angle of incidence, the angle of reflection is always equal and opposite to the angle of incidence. So, if I'm filming here and the sun is directly above me but maybe 5-10 degrees behind me, then I can easily show the clouds 10 degrees in front of me will be brightly lit. This is fact. This is real science. So, whenever there's underside lit clouds anywhere near snow or bodies of water, you know, things that reflect sunlight, the clouds at the equal and opposite angle of incidence will be lit underneath.
What about land?
It has nothing to do with the sun going behind a fake, non-existent globe horizon and lighting them from underneath.
Daniel, let me be honest with you. Your explanation sounds very plausible, but it doesn't explain any of those pictures I just showed that were kindly provided to me by Farmer's Boy, Peck, Science It Out and Alan Evans. Those are simply impossible on a flat Earth. So not only did you not understand the issue, you also failed to provide a fitting explanation for the phenomenon we talk about. Is that why you deleted your video?
And if you're going to claim, well, we've got pictures of the sun setting and still the clouds are lit, that's not equal. Well, if the sun's coming into a mountain and reflecting off the snow...
Yeah, Daniel, there's not always a mountain in the neighborhood. Believe me, I know. I'm from the Netherlands.
It's gonna light the undersides of the mountain.
I just assume you mean the undersides of the clouds there.
The mountain? So if the sun's light, if the sun's setting...
And that's your issue. The sun cannot set on a flat Earth. Boom! Welcome to the globe. And that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video enough to hit that like button. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button as well. In the description you'll find more information how to find me on Discord and Twitter, and also how to support me. This has been Mr. 42, out. Don't panic.
Yeah, don't panic.
Don't panic.
Which two pictures is you and Alan?
Mine was the very first one that showed the shadows of clouds being cast on the underside of higher clouds.
This is real.
That was taken on the outskirts of my home village, I believe. So that's out over the fens. And the fens are famous for their very dark, almost black soil. You ain't getting anything reflected off that onto the undersides of bloody clouds, I tell you.
And I've got land.
I've seen which was mine.
Oh, yeah, right.
Because, yeah, having a bit of a headachy period. So,
okay.
Unfortunately, missed seeing my one.
Well, the image I showed, I should have drove up the top of the mountain and watched the sunset with the clouds lit. What's the last two? Oh, we got Anton. This one's got Australia's. A reference to Australia.
Australia?
Australia, mate.
Well, looks like Australia beat the world. At least in that one thing that we're going to be discussing today. Hello wonderful person, this is Anton, and today I wanted to discuss this new article and new announcement coming from the Australian universities that for the first time ever, the scientists were able to produce the world's first ever atomic scale quantum integrated circuit comparable to the creation of the first integrated circuit back in 1958 when it comes to classical computing. But in this case, this is an integrated circuit based on quantum computing, representing a very important step in the potential creation of some kind of a quantum computer in the next decade or so. Or at least that's what's implied from the recent study. But I actually wanted to talk a little bit more about the details of what was created and how it was created, because none of this is a new technology, and what's actually new in this case is the way that all of this was formed. And specifically, I wanted to discuss a little bit more about the technology used in the formation of the circuit and what it might create in some of the future studies, because it's not really a quantum computer yet, or technically it might never be one, but it might create something useful later on. So first of all, when it comes to quantum computing, I'm not really going to go through some of the details of how all of this works, and you can learn more about this in some of the previous videos in the description. But in a nutshell, the idea here is to try to create some kind of a computing device that, instead of using ones and zeros, is able to use the idea of quantum superposition from quantum physics to essentially calculate everything much faster, and more specifically, simulate various ideas that would be very difficult to simulate in classical computing. For example, simulating what happens inside a relatively complex molecule where atoms already tend to exhibit a lot of quantum physics effects to begin with. And so all of this would be very difficult to achieve using classical computers, but theoretically could be achieved using a quantum computer. And that's kind of where the scientists are headed with this, and that's sort of what they were able to create as well. So first of all, how was this done? Well, it's actually a technology that you might already have in your TV set. The technology that was technically announced, I guess back in 2015-2014 by LG and Samsung when they started to produce so-called quantum dot TVs. Although the original quantum dots were discovered back in 1980s. But the technology itself is pretty intriguing, and it's actually relatively simple to understand. Quantum dots, as the name implies, are tiny dots of material that tend to exhibit quantum effects. Although more practically speaking, quantum dots are essentially crystals. Crystals usually created from silicon or cadmium selenide or sometimes cadmium sulfide, with a somewhat spherical structure and usually varying in size between about 15 atoms, which would be some of the smallest ones producing higher frequency light such as purple light, to approximately 150 atoms, which would end up producing longer wavelengths, in this case red light. With the principle of their function being simple as well. If you were to shine a specific type of light on it, either UV light or sometimes just white light, as an entire structure, it's actually going to absorb some of the light with a lot of the electrons on the inside, then creating a kind of a resonance and re-emitting certain wavelengths, resulting in a certain color depending on the size of the crystal, with the light produced being really bright and also quite exact, which is why some of the recent TVs started to produce these quantum dots, because it tends to produce much better picture, as this particular advertisement from Samsung demonstrates. Not sponsored, I technically prefer LG TVs. Anyway, since the original discovery of quantum dots, the scientists realized that there's actually quite a lot of application for these unusual structures. Although naturally, because they're so tiny, the production process itself is relatively challenging. But in the last few decades, various scientists and various engineers realized that the quantum dots have quite a lot of optical applications, especially because their function is not just good for example, lighting things up, but they also tend to act sort of like semiconductors, where the light can work as a switch in order to create a semiconducting function inside of these quantum dots. But they're not just classical semiconductors, they also have quantum effects. And because they're so useful, it's even been suggested that it could be possible to engineer various viruses to mass-produce these quantum dots in order to then use them for various industries. But that's another story for another day. For example, they've already found potential use in studying various intracellular functions, because they can be easily used to track various types of tissues or even various types of problems inside different cells by being used as a kind of a biological marker. As a matter of fact, quantum dots are generally 20 times brighter and 100 times more stable than any other chemical fluorescent agent that's currently used, with some studies even suggesting that in theory you could even use these as a kind of a biological marker or as a kind of a light marker to, for example, store the vaccination record or any other medical record in different communities where, for example, computers are not very common, or where record keeping is not very good to begin with, but where vaccination or medical records are extremely crucial. In this case, the quantum dots that would be injected with the vaccine would then produce certain types of light when, for example, a medical laser is shown on them. But since the wave function that they produce also resembles the activity of an actual atom, by connecting two or more of these quantum dots together, in theory it would be possible to produce a replica of an artificial molecule. Or in other words, by knowing the structure of the molecule you're studying, and by then trying to replicate this using quantum dots, it could actually be possible to recreate the function of the molecule, but by using nothing but these quantum dots, which would then be more than enough to study the actual activity inside the molecule as well. Or in simpler terms, it becomes possible to simulate and to essentially study the relatively complex activity of a somewhat large molecule, something that any kind of a classical supercomputer would actually struggle with, mostly because of the amount of different variables involved. But that's precisely what the scientists in Australia managed to do. They essentially used what you see on the screen to create a kind of a replica of the organic molecule known as polyacetylene. A relatively simple organic molecule, but still a very important first step. And they did so by engineering a kind of a mimic of a chain of carbons and hydrogens by essentially connecting together 10 separate quantum dots of a very specific size. Which apparently was the biggest challenge in this case, trying to figure out what size of quantum dots they needed to create and trying to figure out where to place them in order to recreate this particular molecule. But by being able to create this very accurate mimic, they were then able to precisely simulate not just the location of atoms and the distances between those atoms, but also simulating different activity between different chains, which sort of resemble the activity between different types of hydrogen bonds between the carbon and hydrogen atoms. So basically they created a kind of a model molecule inside of this quantum computer, which was also a very important challenge set approximately 60 years ago by the famous Richard Feynman, who basically said that you can't really understand nature unless you manage to build something at that specific scale. And that's sort of what the scientists did in this case. They managed to build a scale-to-scale model of an organic molecule. So maybe not the true integrated circuit just yet, not something we can put in a computer and start crunching numbers or playing different video games, but a very interesting replica that simulates activity inside an organic molecule, with the measurements in this case being electric current generated as the electrons pass from the source to the drain inside the circuit. And according to the scientists in the paper, the theoretical predictions of how polyacetylene should be acting matched perfectly with their direct observations. But this is still just the proof of concept. It's not a commercial product yet, and it's also not something that can suddenly become a powerful quantum computer. But it does mean that we can technically scale this to much bigger size and turn this into an actual simulator of much larger molecules or even larger structures that require too much computational power. So for example, if we create something way more complex, such as penicillin, for any kind of a classical computer, it would actually require more transistors than there are atoms in the observable universe in order to simulate this particular molecule, so it would be practically impossible. But for a quantum computer, it would only require 286 qubits, or I guess 286 quantum dots. And since the original single atom transistor using this technology was created back in 2012, and it took about 10 years to create an integrated circuit, to some extent this also mimics the evolution of the classical computers, with the transistors appearing in 1947 and the integrated circuits appearing 11 years later. And so for all we know, this could then end up in some kind of a computing chip in maybe 5 years or 10 years from now. Although at the moment, most of the applications in terms of practical use would really mostly be in regards to chemistry or analyzing different molecules. For example, one suggestion was in analyzing different types of fertilizers and essentially creating something that creates fertilizers more efficiently, which would obviously improve our agriculture quite dramatically. And there are also quite a lot of different pharmacological applications here as well, such as for example in developing new drugs or analyzing various molecules and how they act inside our bodies. But at least for now, this is all in the future. Nevertheless, the integrated circuit that the scientists were able to create is already quite impressive. Quite limited in its use for now, but still impressive nevertheless. But where all of this goes in the next few years, that's of course a question that we currently cannot answer. It's definitely exciting, and it's definitely very intriguing, but it's still very unlikely we're going to be seeing any commercial technology using this, because the machines required to maintain all of this and to create these quantum effects are still relatively complex. So don't expect to play any video games on a quantum computer anytime soon. On that note, check out the study in the description below, check out those other videos in regards to similar topics and similar achievements in quantum computing in the last few years, with the videos available in the description below as well. And subscribe, maybe share this with someone who loves learning about space and sciences, come back tomorrow to learn something else, and maybe support this channel on Patreon by joining channel membership or by buying the Wonderful Person t-shirt you can find in the description. Stay wonderful, I'll see you tomorrow, and as always, bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Cool. That's a bit technological.
Yeah.
I feel the need to mention Clive Wells' comment. Australia. Oh, death, flora, fauna land.
That's it.
That's harsh.
Everything's out to kill you.
Yeah, only the tourists.
Oh, I see. Not the natives. Yeah, right. Sounds about right.
It only seems to be a problem for the tourists.
Yeah, funny that, eh?
Well, they're the ones that like to explore where they don't know what they're doing. Well, we won't see that technology very soon, I don't think.
It doesn't look like it, no.
And it's always the machinery or the devices that create something that's always the part that's always the bit they have to sort out. Once they get that, the manufacturing or the development of it, whatever they use to create something. I'll finish off with oh, okay, totally demolishing another flat earth documentary. Is there another documentary out, was there?
There was one, yeah, there was, if you can call it a documentary, a little while ago. Can't remember what it was called, but it was all just
the usual.
The plane too.
All the usual. Like the 100 proofs or whatever it was.
Oh, good old Debase 200 proofs. And,
yeah.
And they're all copies of each other, and none of them are proofs. And
none of them
basically are just a rip-off of... Well, they're all Eric Robotham. You know, he's just ripped Robotham off.
And none of them are proofs.
No, of course not.
Worked out there were 30 items. There's 30 different things in 200 proofs.
Something like that, yeah.
Because the rest of it just repeated. Yeah.
Yeah, different statements of the same thing.
Last year, Eric Debay and friends released a flat earth mockumentary, if you will, called Level. Now, we obviously totally debunked it. Here is the full supercut for those episodes. Link will be in the description as well. Well, you won't be surprised to hear that Eric and friends are back. This time, they're going to the next level. Hello all and welcome along to another episode of Flat Earth Friday with me, Simon Dan. Thank you very much for joining me. Before we begin today, a huge thank you to the sponsors of today's Flat Earth Friday, Blinkist. Time is a precious commodity these days, isn't it? And I'm sure you're always thinking that then you will get 25% off a full membership after that. Right, back to today's video, which is the first part of the next level takedown. We did it with Eric Debay's first documentary, and we're going to do it again with this one. As before, it will be as thorough as I can make it, and as before, it will also be in separate parts. This one is going to be a longer video than usual, so get yourself comfy and get a cup of tea or coffee, because it's going to be a good one. Let's skip the fancy intro and get stuck in. Here we go.
The one thing globe believers need to understand is that you don't just take the spinning...
Do you want me to pause it while you go and make a coffee?
...ball Earth and flatten it out and put it back in the heliocentric model.
But I do need another cup.
Like it's just the only misfit planet and it's flat and the rest of the planets are round. No flat earther has ever said that. No flat earther will ever say that because it's not what we believe. The Earth isn't a pancake floating in outer space.
And I don't think I've ever said that you guys claim that it was. I know your stance. Anti-globe, basically.
And you will never hear a flat earther say that. And if you would ever actually take the time to study it for yourself or hear a flat earther through, then you would find that it's much different and things would actually make more sense.
Yes, I have done that extensively and it still makes no sense.
They've got the narrative controlled to where anyone that goes to search for this, they're going to see pancakes floating up in space, you know, and it turns people away. Or they see a snow globe. A snow globe out in the middle of space with water falling off the sides, and they're like, what is this? It turns them away. The mainstream agenda was to push their false narrative, all these hit pieces on flat Earth. 2016, 2017, That was pretty much the end of the YouTube era, where we could actually find real evidence, real content. Any search engine, the algorithms are suited to their favor. You're going to see all the hit pieces. You're going to see all the stuff that's there to debunk flat Earth.
Indeed, that's where I come into it.
So it's just it's almost impossible to get the real information.
YouTube played their part in it, and not just cherry picking which videos they wanted to show, but deciding whether or not they wanted you to subscribe to somebody. So on several occasions and with several different content creators, I'd press the subscribe button to then find out several days or several weeks later that I couldn't find that content creator, assuming they'd either been deleted or they'd been censored beyond belief.
A new flat earther here I see, and she's English. Interesting. I must check her out.
There's a major campaign by Google and YouTube and all of these corporate lying companies.
There he is, Santos! Whee!
To discredit the flat earth. Why do they have that disclaimer under every video dealing with the topic of flat earth, that it is an archaic, antiquated, outdated model that the ancients used to believe in?
Because it is an ancient and archaic belief. Not a hard one, that.
Of course, the ancients were stupid. They didn't know how to build Gothic cathedrals, and they didn't know how to build cities and pyramids.
The problem is, people that think that flat earth is stupid think flat earth is stupid because they're thinking of a stupid flat earth.
Wow, they're all out today, aren't they? No, I think flat earth is stupid because there is no evidence. And those that propagate it don't understand physics or earth sciences, but they pretend they do. They act confident. Now, what's that called again? Ah yes, Dunning-Kruger.
And they ridicule and make fun of flat earthers. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Since 2015, the content providers for flat earth have had a living hell.
Martin Lickey, there's a blast from the past. Well, this guy's from Wales, and he spends all of his time telling people that the earth is flat and that the mud floods happened.
We have been ridiculed, we have been trolled, we have been censored beyond belief by YouTube. It's really difficult to get the truth out there.
YouTube controls the algorithm. Who owns YouTube? Google. These are these big corporations that came in and said, the flat earth is getting way too big. People are finding this out. We don't want them to find this out.
No, we don't want them being miseducated. People fall for it. That is clear. We can't let it happen.
This will just completely destroy our agenda that we've worked so hard for. We're losing it because of our own technology that we created. So they had to get involved. Withholding information and knowledge is a form of control.
Now, for new people coming into the subject, if you research flat earth, the Google analytic will give you government hate propaganda against the flat earth truth.
Hey, I'm not employed by the government, and I don't hate. Hate is a strong word, too strong. You know, I'm not happy that you guys spread this stuff, but hate, no.
If you go to Google and try to find anything flat earth related, then the first thing that's going to pop up is the Flat Earth Society. And that is something that has absolutely nothing to do with this movement.
I think everyone knows that the Flat Earth Society isn't serious. Why are they banging this drum?
In fact, it's a completely made up organisation in order to deter anybody looking for some sort of truth. So that you'd first of all get to that page, you'd see these ridiculous accusations and this spinning disc illusion that's going upwards in space that I can assure you nobody believes in. If the globe model was as strong as they claim to be, then there wouldn't be so much concern with anybody talking about a stationary Earth model.
Yes, there would, because you've all been fooled. And you have confidence in the tales that you've been told, the stories that have been spun. And then you spin those stories to others who may not have the scientific understanding to rebut you. And the cycle goes on and on.
Now, everything's fine in court until somebody walks in with a load of shit on you. Everything's fine until somebody out there has evidence that's going to prove you guilty. And that's when you start acting suspicious. That's when you start panicking. That's when you start putting damage control out there, which is inevitably what these bots are, what these trolls are on social media, and of course the algorithms. This is just a new lie that was started in the 20s, and even before then they weren't really teaching anything about the world and where we were. It was just common knowledge.
Yes, knowledge that's backed up with science.
One of the main arguments that globe believers come at you with is we've known for 2,000 years. Aristophanes figured it out with his sticks and shadows.
Same old cack, David. Same old cack.
Well, Aristophanes may or may not have been a real mathematician. He figured out the shape of the Earth. That would have made him the Michael Jordan of mathematicians, but nobody ever mentioned him in a book until the mid-1900s.
Actually, Pappus of Alexandria was a Greek author who lived from 190 to 250 AD. And he mentions Eratosthenes in his 6th book.
What's crazy is I've talked to some elderly people and they've told me that back in their day when they were in school, they didn't even learn about people like Copernicus or Galileo. Everything's up for grabs at this point. People like Christopher Columbus and any other figure in history could be totally false or created just for some sort of agenda.
What, to hide the shape of the Earth? What's the end game there, though? What benefit is it to anyone?
This is everywhere. We found somebody in Croatia. They said they were teaching flat Earth through the 1930s.
Most people think that this flat Earth versus globe Earth has been going back and forth for thousands of years. No, it has not.
No, we've been laughing at flat Earth for about 10 years.
This is a brand new deception. They come up with these stories, these fictional stories, fictional characters, to reinforce that we live on a ball.
All of our globe provers, Galileo, Aristophanes, Copernicus, the pictures of them show that they're Masons, but I contend that we don't even know if they're real. All of our history is a lie.
Is it though? The thing with all those scientists there that you mentioned, have you ever stopped and decided to read some of their work? Or are you parroting the belief that they were not real or they had an agenda taught to you by someone else?
I've met people that said that they were taught flat Earth in the early 1960s in school. They were taught flat Earth and globe Earth. And then it kind of just went away. I interviewed Ruth, a 102-year-old woman, back in February of 2020, and she was taught flat Earth in public school in Connecticut.
Yeah, that was an awful video. It genuinely looked like you'd coached her beforehand. Shocking. Moving on.
Knowing that there is a creator, absolutely. That is one of the main reasons to hide this. But, you know, at the same time, it's nowhere near comparison when 1 billion people find out that there's more land.
It's about hidden land. I think there's possible they could be hiding land in here somewhere with us. And I think that the Antarctica Treaty is very, very, very sinister, and there must be something else going on.
Sinister? The Antarctic Treaty is sinister? Have you read it, Martin? There is nothing in that treaty, not one thing that says you cannot go to Antarctica.
They went really, really, really tough with their implementation of the Antarctic Treaty and everything else, and just to keep people away from the truth. They didn't want people to know about more land.
Another person who hasn't read the treaty either.
Haven't we been fighting over land forever? Isn't that what always happens? Countries fighting over land, but not on the outskirts of Antarctica. Oh, no, no, no. No fighting there.
Yeah, because it would make sense to fight over land that is immensely inhospitable and incredibly hard to get to. Perfect sense. Besides, that treaty didn't come into action until 1959.
They're all in agreement. You can't go there. You can't explore any of it.
Again, it doesn't say that.
That treaty was in effect in 1959. It can't even be questioned until the year 2041. The longest lasting treaty that all of the world signed on to at the same time and is still in place.
It was 12 countries originally, David. Not all of them. Even now, not all of them are on the treaty.
There's about 100 different companies that you can spend a lot of money to go on a little guided tour of just that peninsula, but all of those companies are owned under one umbrella. One person controls them all. They don't let anybody explore Antarctica.
What person? Where's the evidence for that?
Will be a fucking international headline in about 5 minutes. Australian Navy ship shoots it.
Facing our way. Bad boys, yield.
Is it?
The turret is turning our way.
The turret's turning at us.
Wait, we should hide Adrian in case they think we're trying to.
Well, hang on. The Bass Strait is an area of water between Australia and Tasmania. So what? Tasmania is too far south now. Better inform all the residents and let them know that they're in a restricted zone.
When people say, why the lie? One of the main answers is they're hiding more land.
What if we can
They just
truly
went too
become
close
free?
to a ship that was
The whole
probably
reason
doing
for this is because of more
maneuvers.
land.
That's all.
Because think about it. If there's more real estate, if there's more resources, natural resources, if there's more food for our starving children,
says the actual millionaire.
if there's more space, more room for us to get away from the child sex trafficking, if there's places where we can go and other civilizations we can be a part of, where they don't
Look, he's wearing a hat
charge
indoors.
you
You can't
for
trust
water.
him.
They don't charge you for free energy. They don't charge you for property taxes.
Yeah, those civilizations out on that extra land, they're very hot on their property tax. We'll give them that.
What if there is more land?
Nobody can go explore Antarctica.
What if?
Period.
Said no one ever.
Because if humanity found out there's more land, then the heliocentric theory is gone. They can't start adding more continents on the bottom of a ball. It's just, they wanted it silenced right away.
There is evidence out there through old maps, namely the 1,000-year-old Japanese Kawabashi map, which shows continents and lands outwardly of what they call the ice shelf or the ice wall.
Oh, you mean the map that's an entire work of fiction? That map? You lot are a bunch of suckers, aren't you?
So why are they teaching the globe model? Well, you see, the globe is a container, and it's a container of all the known land. The Jesuits and the Freemasons, they needed a new model because they wanted a new world order.
Because right now on a ball or in a snow globe, there's only 7 continents. That's all there is. So everything is very limited. We have a limited supply.
Indeed, and I can't help but think this is a major thing for you flat earthers. Everything is finite, everything. And you can't accept that. It ruins your little bedtime story in a variety of ways, doesn't it?
Resources are very scarce because the Earth is a globe, right? It's cut off, everything's cut off. If you open it up and there is more land, then there's plenty of resources. More land means more resources. Well, that's huge if they're hiding something like that. There's a scene in The Truman Show where Truman is like, I want to be an explorer when I get older.
I like to be an explorer, like the Great Magellan.
Oh, you're too late. There's really nothing left to explore.
Of course this is a fictional movie, but nevertheless I don't agree with that either. There is so much more to explore on this planet.
Imagine if there's like all these beautiful places to explore still, and finding out that there's all this land, it just opens up the door for discovery again.
Have you ever heard of the eyewitness testimony written in the books, The Iron Republic, The Smoky God, Worlds Beyond the Poles?
Books of fiction.
In the late 1800s, there was a series of articles written in Florida Magazine about a politician that was tired of what was going on here, got a big ship and a crew, was exploring Antarctica, and he found a passageway through, and he popped out into the ocean, was lost for about a month. Finally, they found land with a city, and they pulled up, and it was a very advanced, quite different civilization, and very friendly, and they stayed there, and he writes about all the experiences he had there.
Again, another work of fiction. What if I said to you that there were many hundreds of thousands of years ago these sort of religious people that sort of had magic powers that can move things with their mind, and they had weapons made of light, and they lived in a galaxy far, far away? That definitely happened.
In the late 1800s, they were talking about more land beyond Antarctica.
Remember, the word extraterrestrial means extra land. They're telling you that there's more land in here that they don't talk about.
There could be more land in some of the oceans where it's just all blue on the map. Nobody knows. You're not cruising around on big ships or flying over it on planes and looking, you know? Nobody's out there charting anything.
Yeah, because it's already been done, buddy.
Have you heard of such a thing as no-fly zones?
Yes, usually something put in place for political or safety reasons.
For instance, you can't fly in certain areas near the Arctic Circle or the Antarctic Circle.
Where does it say that? You can't just make a statement and then expect everyone to believe it.
The reasons being is because there are lands there that we're not supposed to know about.
Any evidence for these lands at all, Santos?
They don't want those lands to be discovered.
All these corrupt systems that are stealing money from us, kidnapping our children, just doing horrible things. They rely upon the cattle staying on the ranch, the slaves on the plantation. That's why Flat Earth is the most important knowledge we can obtain. It's because there is more land.
Don't look at us and say, go prove it.
Isn't that a reasonable thing to do, though?
They won't allow us to go prove it.
Oh, that bloody they. They're so awful, aren't they?
We're not the lazy ones here. We're being restricted from going to prove this to you.
Well, the last time you tried to prove something, it didn't end too well, did it?
A 15-degree-per-hour drift.
Thanks, Bob. And what a delightful way to end part 1. There'll be 4 parts for this one, by the way. Another 3 to come in the next 3 months. Right, well, there we go. Another Flat Earth Friday, all done and dusted, all wrapped up in a nice, tight little Flat Earth Friday next level box. Thank you so much for watching today. It truly is appreciated. If you enjoyed it, please do consider subscribing to the channel. And if you really, really enjoyed the video, hit that like button as well. Just enough time to once again thank Blinkist for sponsoring today. Remember, the first 100 of you that click the link in the description will get unlimited access for a week to try it out, and then 25% off a premium membership. I've been Simon Dan. Have yourselves a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow for another Misconception Mini. See you then.
I mean, they summed it up so well when they kept saying, "What if?"
Yeah, what if?
Yeah. What if there's this? What if there's extra? Well, there isn't. Yeah, stop playing silly buggers. You know, kids do that. What if? What if?
If only we could travel around and check the validity of this.
I know.
Scott lives down in Tasmania. He must be pretty lonely. The only one that lives there.
Yeah, because you can't go there.
Yeah. What are you doing down there, Scott?
Can't go to Tasmania. I think somebody looked into that, and that warship was on manoeuvres, and they were having an exercise in the area. So of course they said, no, you ain't coming any closer, because they quite often use live munitions in these sort of things, you know. And yeah, they're training to test fire their bloody guns and cannon and everything else, and you want some idiots on the fishing boat. I'm sure they'd like
look
to,
how close
but...
they came. How close would they have been coming to realise, oh, that looks like a naval vessel. We'll just go a bit closer.
Yeah, that's a sensible thing to do. Yeah. I mean, I can't remember which flat earth idiot it was who first put it out and said, "Oh, look, they're going to the South Pole, and they're quite obviously dressed for
in t-shirts,
warmer climes." Yes, and then when they, of course, they actually give away where they are. And it's like, hang on a minute, you haven't got the bloody Tasmania yet. How can you be saying you're being stopped going to the South Pole? It's like saying, actually, you're being stopped coming to England. Yeah, they just can't help but lie, can they? But they're so bad at doing it as well.
Everyone say g'day, mate, to Blue.
G'day, mate.
G'day, mate.
G'day, mate. Oh wait, I'm Blue. I can't do that.
Well, you managed to come in at the other end,
so to speak.
Did I make it for the finale?
Yeah, we'll just share our thoughts, and if we've got anything else to add before we wind down. Paul's off to bed because he's nodding off.
Had a busy day.
Yeah. Well, how's your ducks?
Yeah, good.
Are they all lined up?
Yeah, we're getting another batch on Monday. So
already? You just got this batch?
Yeah. No, we got this batch nearly 6 weeks ago.
Oh.
They wait for no man.
Yeah. Getting another 5,000 or so on Monday. So, yeah.
We haven't had a time lapse yet from the time they crack their shells open to when they're big enough to be dispatched.
Brainley is misbehaving out in the chat.
Who's that?
Brainley. Yeah. He says time for a Lindsay in slow-mo.
Oh
shit.
no.
No.
I used to like you, Rotary.
Blue missed out on the tropical cold fusion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it the cause of the tropics, or the tropics is because of the cold fusion?
Who knows?
Interesting stuff, that cold fusion. Must be just right around the corner, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, just, it was so close.
Been working on it for about 40 years now.
Yeah, I think so.
It's the opposite in the Antarctica. I think they got the heaters on too high.
Oh, those birds that you were talking about jumping off cliffs.
Yeah.
Were Arctic barnacle geese.
Is that the one?
Oh, geese!
Yes.
Bloody hell!
Yeah.
Yeah,
They don't accidentally fall off the cliff. They jump off.
Yeah.
They breed up on the cliffs to get away from predators, and then the parents fly down and encourage the young ones to jump. They literally jump off. And
Come on,
fall down.
come on.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I ain't jumping down there.
And you watch him bounce all the way down the cliff.
Oh, I have seen clips of that before. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and you sort of think, if that was me, I'd have several broken limbs by the time I got to the bottom.
Yep.
Is that one of your questions, Paul? How many hours of Lindsay does it take to fry an average brain? Is that one of your questions?
No, it's not. But
Oh,
I'll tell you what.
sorry. No, it's not.
It doesn't even take 1 hour.
That many.
Yeah.
Ye gods. We struggle to get through one video, don't we?
Yeah.
Well, you take too long to go and
really
make your cuppa, that's probably why.
He really has this thing about gaps at the moment. Everything's a gap. The tropical gap.
Yeah, we know where the gap is, Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, between his ears.
Who's that science fiction writer that wrote a series about the gap?
Oh, we haven't heard a grunt from Alan lately,
No.
so I think he's still on mute.
Alan.
He said his back's really bad at the moment.
Yeah, he's suffering a bit, so I think he muted himself.
Oh.
So, what else? I don't think. What else do we usually do at this end?
Say goodbye.
Oh, okay.
I mean, unless you got anything else lined up, because
No, I'm looking, but I can't find anything else. I'm looking around, but there's just nothing.
Don't use everything, because you're going to want something for Saturday, aren't you?
Well, hopefully we'll have something by then. I mean, we did have 12 tabs open there for tonight, but I dwindled them down to a few.
Yeah.
make a Lindsay marathon, like those Star Trek or Star Wars marathons. Oh yeah, right. Oh,
I'll
dear.
be here in spirit.
Yeah.
But off camera.
You'll be going to
On
make a
microphone.
cuppa, but you'll have to go to the shop down the road, fair way to go and get the
I'll go and get
materials.
a cuppa and a fry up. I'll head up the road to the super sausage.
Yeah, I'm just going to get a
I may
cuppa.
be going outside. Yeah. I may be sometime.
Yeah, you could always join the Next Level Discord server and stream it live here on your channel if you want to.
Now, Blue, a word. Stop it. Come on.
I'm going down there now. I've got Bev down there, Kevin B, SE Montreal, and Spot On Elevation. I mean, we can duck in there and listen in on them without them knowing. We're able to do that. We do have the technology.
Yeah, go on then. Let's.
Get up.
What, the one with the suit top?
Yeah.
Yeah, Gizmo says Los Angeles. Not in certain parts of LA. You ain't wearing that shit. You wear that, you're going down. Not in a good way.
Damn.
That the Earth may be flat and stationary, as certain specific types of individuals that could be labeled in a way of being anti-Semitic or things like that. To me, that psyop was very obvious. Now, most people on the flat Earth side recognize this. It doesn't necessarily discredit all of the information that Eric Dubé was putting out. But like anybody who is what I would consider controlled opposition, they release a small portion of truth.
I got to stop you right there. We have to throw out NASA because you guys say they're suspect. But I am showing a clear lie where he says he was being turned away from the coast of Antarctica while he was in the Bass Strait. The guys in the boat are wearing fucking t-shirts and shorts. They're not in Antarctica. It
Would
is
you be able to
very
get us
clear
like
and obvious
a
lie.
video?
So
Would you please stop talking to me, dude? Every
So
fucking time. It's goddamn annoying. So why don't we throw out everything he does? You throw out everything he does, I'll throw out everything NASA does, and we'll get back together. Until
Yeah,
then,
so-
you're just saying, oh, he lied about this, but everything else is good. Fuck that.
Yeah, we can do
Lies,
that. I don't have any.
So I can throw out Eric Dubé. It's not somebody that I follow. It's not somebody that I've watched many of his videos at all whatsoever. And I don't think there's a large portion of what you would consider the flat earth community that pay any attention to Eric Dubé, to be honest with you. And just because Eric Dubé can be deceptive, could possibly be what I would consider controlled opposition, doesn't mean that I have to throw out a possible truth that he has said just because it came from him. Right? So if somebody who I know is a liar and a deceiver
NASA's back up,
tells me that the
right?
grass is green, I don't need to now consider the grass not to be green, if that makes sense.
Cool. Now I can use pictures from space and NASA because even though they might be controlled opposition, their information is still good, according to your logic.
Yeah, so you can retain any information from NASA that is truthful. Many times the flat earth side will do that. They call it a hostile witness, right? Meaning pulling up documentation from NASA where they talk about, rigid aircraft flying over a flat and stationary plane, right? So that's using NASA as a hostile witness. But if you want to talk about specifics, if you want to talk about a specific picture from space, if it's known to be a composite image and not an actual picture from space, then I don't really know why you would hold that to be something other than what it really is.
I would like to address. From the judge to treat that witness as a hostile witness by picking documents
Oh, you're gonna do that stupid levels thing, aren't you? Can't for a moment admit maybe those are photographs and that I've done something that you said shouldn't happen. You gotta go and pull them into Photoshop, try to change.
That place any importance in like a cult of personality. I mean, I'm sure you guys have heard me on here disagree with flat earthers, right? Like, I don't care where the information is coming from. If I disagree with it or if I think it's incorrect, I'm going to express those feelings.
Yeah, that's right. Because you should. You should.
As long as it
Well,
didn't
just-
come from a gay guy, right?
Just
in their ball world, and he's firmly making a claim that dip is both a function of height of eye and also a function of awe, which is, like I say, the first part is describing how awe would be a function in the consideration of dip, but then he goes on to make the statement that dip is purely a function of our height of eye. It is a complete contradiction to what he's just described. He's actually doing it on a ball.
Huey, can you read like the
Yeah,
first
he's
two
equivocating.
sentences again? I think we all kind of missed something there.
Wait a second. I'll go ahead and I didn't post it in Discord. You in Discord?
Yeah.
1 second.
But Adam is correct. He's equivocating between the original definition of dip correction, which is height of eye, and nowadays globalized dip correction, which is a mathematical correction, or 7/6 or correction from a geometric horizon to the real horizon. So he's equivocating between the two.
An Alberuni horizon is what is, but it's geometric. You see, fundamentally, there's no. To have validity in what he's saying, it has to be solidly geometric for you to draw anything from it. So no refraction, otherwise it just all goes to pot. But
So you're saying he's putting a Baruni?
He's doing an Alberuni horizon, isn't he? It's a solid geometric thing that he can measure to. Yeah. That horizon's going to move based on his height. He's viewing above the ball.
I forgot to unmute you guys.
Are we dem muted?
I forgot to unmute you.
Oops.
Yes, Farmer said something really profound then. Sorry, I can't remember what it was.
No, it's gone. Once in a lifetime opportunity, that.
Yeah, they missed out. No refunds.
And we didn't write it down.
What am I missing? Oh, that's right. Hey, don't mind me. I'm just doing something.
Oh, it's dropped down to hang on.
I was just about to ask.
It's only 27.
Oh shit! I even sweat just thinking of that temperature.
Well, the fan's certainly helping now, but I really am not looking forward to next week.
Prove the fans on again.
There you go.
Oh, that's better.
It's only on,
that's
hang
better.
on, hang on.
That's better. Oh, you only had it on low or medium. Is that on full?
Bloody hell.
Oh, that's better.
Oh, it's lovely.
If it wasn't for that bit of paper flapping, I wouldn't feel any cooler.
Quick, sneak peek of an Amazon Fresh store. No, that's all you're getting. Sorry.
Oh, oh bugger.
There's lots of pretty colours. That's front of house with all the shelving where you go, and that's back of house where all the stores are kept.
It's like doing a circuit diagram for a PC board.
But they've just emailed it out for comments, and my first comment is, "You've got shelving where there's a column."
Yeah.
Well done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to cut the shelving in half, or cut the column?
I mean, this open area's got 30 great big columns that go down the middle of it, and they've built the shelving around it. And then when you get to what's called the warming pantry, they've just ignored that there's a column there and just sort of plunked their standard layout over the top of it. It's like, sorry, that won't work.
Not? Why not?
Yeah.
You can draw it that way.
Yeah, you could draw it that way. Hey, Blue, how many drawings have you seen like that where it's yeah, you could draw it like that, but it's physically impossible to bloody do it.
Yeah.
Look, if you can draw it,
more than
that's the flair for it, see? If you can draw it.
I don't know how many drawings I've seen in my time, and I'll still slag them off, even though I am one. Consultants, they send you a design, and you just look at it, you go, well, that's physically impossible. What are you doing? You could draw it, so it must work. No, it just doesn't work. Oh dear.
Alan might not.
Way too many times. Just because you guys can draw a picture of it doesn't mean we can build it.
Yeah, that's it. They want a perfectly straight line on the curvature of the Earth to show that it's curved. They want us to build it with a steel beam or whatever it is they say, or a piece of string.
It's like that bloody office block I did at Bryce Norton. The consultant said, "Why have you moved all the services out the corridor? Because you forgot about the steel work, and it's a steel frame building." You know, and they had, because when they come into the design team meeting and opened up the drawing on their laptop and showed everybody section through the corridor, where's the steel work? There wasn't any. Oh, oops. Yeah, that's why I've redesigned the entire bloody job for you, because you forgot about the steel frame that's holding the fucking building up in the first place.
Not our problem.
It's a bit.
Not our problem.
It's a big clue. It's a steel frame. It's a steel frame building, which means at various points in the building you're going to have big steel beams, and they just completely ignore them and thought, "Yeah, we can get all the services down the corridor." No, you can't, because there's these dirty great big steel beams every few meters. Idiots. But they drew it like that, so why doesn't it go in like that? I had to be so polite in front of everybody else as well because I really didn't want to be. I spent bloody hours on that.
What's that, Fondle? About something? Zeb, that is a classic clip if you're on Terry's Discord. No, I'm not in Discord.
Oh, Vroom Fondle's put a clip in there. Mabbit under management.
Zeb, aren't you in my Discord? Why not? Don't
Yeah,
you
why
do
not?
Discord? I build it with Lego. What did you put something over in Discord? Look, I'm just winding up and you just put something. Where, what, how, where, why?
Fair suck of a sound. Mabbit under management. It's a video clip or something.
Mabbit and the management.
Hearing fundamental fucking fact.
Oh.
I'll be Mabbit then. Yeah.
Can they hear it out there?
Possibly.
Don't know.
Yeah, I'll just check the audio to see if it comes through.
Hearing fundamental
they can.
fucking facts. For you to think you live on a spinning globe means, one, you must have rotation, and two, you must have some sort of curvature. You have got neither.
Don't listen to him. It's a spinning ball.
That's right, Mrs. Mabbit. You tell them.
You bloody listen to their crap. They're just people that like to argue about anything.
Yep, that's your
That's fried cheese on God.
Oh, that's classic.
That's almost as classic as my daughter walking in and asking me that very famous question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Who are we talking to? Or CC in the
He's not got it set up, has he?
Yeah. Or CC in the kitchen when his missus walks past.
Yeah, we've heard Sue before. We've heard Mrs. Mabbit before. She's quite.
Or CC walking in the kitchen with his missus walking past.
Why did he put that out? Why would you have that happen and then release it as a video?
Yeah.
I mean, is he just a pose? Is he just trolling? Because otherwise, why would you?
Well,
put
he had
that
a
out
serious
there for
look on
everybody
his
to
face,
see?
the way he sort of looked down and around.
Yeah, but that could all be part of the act.
Yeah, it could.
I don't know.
Anyway,
it's a job to tell.
Anyway, good night, Alan. Good night, Farmer. Good night, Emmy. Neither, nother, or whatever. Neither.
No clue.
Yeah, one of them. Later, Blue. Who'd we have out here? Doggis, Zebulon, Brainery, Fondle, Judy, Fred, Brainery, Elmigs, Tiny Captain, Zebulon, Biggest Doggis, Truth Nerds, who else? Got to scroll up a bit further. Fred Bailey, James C. Laugh. Oh, Carl couldn't make it. He had a blackout again. He was here at the start, but when he got a blackout, he couldn't make it.
Yeah, they've got rolling power outages in South Africa.
Mm.
My boss was telling me his family over there, for their location, it's every 2 hours. 2 hours on, 2 hours off, 2 hours
Wow.
on.
Good
2
grief.
hours off.
Fred Knotts. I think Judy was out there. Rodent Nolla. Can't pronounce that. Nollestein? No last name. Sorry. Tricky. Tricked me, that one. Who else was out there? Stevie B. Anamorphic Mind. Space Matt. How come Space Matt didn't drop in to say g'day?
He was out on
his
phone.
Oh, that's right. He was out and about on his phone.
Oh, was he?
Probably
Oh,
using
okay.
not to drop in. Yeah.
Yeah.
as you know from those of us who do, and then it's like, how do I get out of this? Which camera am I using?
One of them.
Yeah, usually
There
the
we
wrong
go.
one.
I don't know if I missed anyone, did I? Good night, Tiny Captain.
You didn't miss anyone important.
Night, Scott. Okay, night panel, night peanuts.
Night peanuts.
Anything profound or witty to finish off with?
No.
Okay. Oh, you're out then. Was that a cough? Was that? Yeah, I can't debunk that.